Whoa, dude, check this out. It's an exact copy of the teleportation device from Chrono Trigger.
Oh yeah, man, that looks really cool. Wasn't Doug supposed to be here with us?
That's odd. He told us to meet him here.
Why is it every single time we get together to do an episode, one of you is fucking off before we get started?
He's probably just taking a shit, or, a Doug.
That's pretty typical, Doug. Hold on a second. What's on the platform up there? Is that my fucking Apple Watch? I was wondering where the hell that went.
Is better off lost.
Nah.
Oh yeah, check this out. It's kind of glowing.
Hey, don't touch my watch. Why the hell is it glowing?
Oh, we should probably get down. I've seen how. See?
Well, shit.
Well, that was a hell of a trip.
Oh, time travel is not any easier in a portal. Hey, there's Doug.
Oh, yeah. Fuck, hurry. He's already starting the episode without us.
Podcast brought to you by 4 aging millennials and our outdated opinions. I'm your host, Doug, and with me, as always, is...
I'm Corey, and man or woman, it's all the same. Power is beauty, and I'm deliciously strong.
I'm Mike, and the Black Wind howls. Adrian is the one among us that shortly perished.
The world begins with new, and the world ends with new. And today we're talking about Chrono Trigger. Kind
Kind of sound like you're doing the How I Met Your Mother thing.
Best theme ever, frog theme. Anyway,
He was doing my favorite theme from the game when I was a kid.
it's my favorite theme to this day from that game.
It's still fucking good.
I've listened to every metal cover in existence of it.
Yeah, I've been doing nothing but listening to Chrono Trigger music all day long
Oh, really?
to get myself in the mood.
So today, we just wanted to do a bonus episode for you guys. So I have no idea when this is coming out, but enjoy it. Me and Mike are turbo fans of a classic game. You might have heard of it, called Chrono Trigger for the Super Nintendo. Corey sort of played it once and just decided to be here because he has to have that spotless record.
I'm a Cash fan.
This game was voted number 1 by IGN as the number 1 RPG of all time.
Yeah, they get some things right, some things wrong, you know.
Man, this was going to be such a fun, just positive episode, too.
Yeah.
Why'd you have to make it on time? Anyway.
It's all right. I won't shit on it too much. I actually enjoy it.
That's good to know.
That's the spirit.
But yeah, like I said, me and Mike, Turbo fans, and we have been waiting to talk about this for, well, almost 50 episodes now. So we said, fuck it.
Yeah.
We're just going to do it live. I don't know how many of you out there have actually played this game. But to me, it's like hyper nostalgic. I know, Corey, you're just like kind of playing it for the first time in your 30s. So
yeah,
I'm kind of curious what your opinion is without mine and Mike's massive rose-colored blinding nostalgia glasses, because to me it can pretty much do very little wrong, because it's been like a standard that I've held JRPGs to since I played this when I was 12 for the first time.
I mean, I still consider it a game that was way ahead of its time, and that's no pun intended whatsoever.
How old were you when you played it for the first time, Mike?
Yeah, I played the Super Nintendo version, so
Yeah, same.
it's like 96, 97.
Yeah.
So I was like 6 or 7 years old.
Oh shit, I'm surprised you got through it.
Well, I didn't beat it when I was 6 or
okay.
7. No, I mostly, like I mentioned in a previous episode, I watched my brother play games a lot when I was younger because I was terrible at video games. And so I saw him play it more than I actually played it. And then, as I got older and, the first time I ever beat it, unfortunately, is probably in the worst edition of the game that's ever been released.
PS1 version.
The PS1 version.
I had it
yep.
too, don't worry.
But that is where they introduced all those awesome, badass Dragon Ball Z style
The
cutscenes.
anime
So
cuts, yeah.
was it like dumbed down or something?
No, because of the difference between the way a cartridge loads information and a disc loads information.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be like, you know how when you get into a battle, there's no, it just pop happens.
Yeah.
On the
yeah,
PlayStation, every time that happened, it was like a 20-second pause as it
Yeah.
loaded.
Oh, that's a lot.
Every
of
time,
pauses.
yeah, that's the difference between random access memory of a cartridge and why Nintendo
God.
still uses them, and laser reading a disc.
The worst part is the older the game disc
It
got,
slowed down.
or your PlayStation got, the slower those load times were.
Even going into the menu was like a 10-second wait.
It's like, motherfucker.
And on the Super Nintendo, it was all. You're playing it on PC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's gonna be flawless.
My last playthrough was on PC, and I was like, "This is so much quicker."
And it came with everything. It's got the special 13th boss ending, the cutscenes, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitive.
Yeah, as soon as the first time you guys talked about this game, I think it was way back in our first video game episode.
Oh yeah,
I bought it on Steam and connected my PS4 remote to my computer because I was going to play it. Never really got around to it until recently. I started playing it again.
So before we get into the meat of this game, this is mostly to let you, because I know Doug probably knows this. Corey, you have a lot of things to thank this game for, and one of those is New Game Plus.
Is this like the first one to do
It
it?
was the very first RPG that ever used the New Game Plus mode.
And used it to incorporate upwards of 13 different endings.
Yeah.
Most of them are like, there was a lot of comedy relief, but they did it in a unique way that when you were in New Game Plus, you gained access to the ability to basically go to the final boss at any point, and based on what you've accomplished at that point, the timeline was left in a certain point. So when you beat the final boss, it altered how things ended up because you didn't actually fix everything.
Yeah.
And there's even a special one where if you go into New Game Plus and immediately go fight him and beat him with just the first 2 characters, you go to what is called the Dev Room ending, where it's just an ending where all the programmers made a character of themselves that just said something. It was like, yo, you found this, thanks. And like gave some info and stuff. It wasn't like a scene or anything. It was just like for the people that were really out there doing it. And it's super cool. It was like, you don't see that a lot even today, but they thought to do that fucking 20 years ago.
In 1995, they thought of this idea.
25 years ago.
And that's one of the reasons I say that this game was ahead of its time. Is just, something like that. Such a big idea for a cartridge game for the Super Nintendo.
Well, it did so much more than just that. Like that ability to walk around like freely on the map.
Yeah, you go diagonal instead of
not
like
just that,
but
it was like
stuff.
Cleanly moved. And that game was made at the exact same time. They were literally made at the same time as Final Fantasy VI, which is just like all the old ones where you can only go up and down and left and right, and it moves the exact same way as all the old Final Fantasies that came before it. So they had to design the technology to make that possible because it didn't exist yet.
And that's what you said about it being developed during the same time as Final Fantasy VI is why this game was actually pitched as Final Fantasy VII originally. This and Xenogears, I fucking say that.
That would not have sold well as a Final Fantasy game, though it is a great game. But holy shit, I love that game, Xenogears. But
both of them were initially pitched as Final Fantasy VII, and I guess Square obviously liked both ideas. But they put them as side projects instead of being part of the main Final Fantasy canon.
I played Xenogears.
Do you agree that wouldn't have really fit in the Final Fantasy mythos?
No.
Did you know that Luca is actually in Xenogears?
What?
She's in the village of Lahan.
I've only ever played it one time, so it's on my PS3. I just don't have a controller anymore.
In Xenogears, she's the one who explains the concept of save points to the player.
Oh Christ, I would never have got that.
I mean, I obviously didn't pick up on
that.
But...
That's fine.
That's actually something I didn't know until I was doing some research or fun facts. It was one of the fun facts I learned.
Yeah, it's a random addition.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, and then another thing that they did that was you still don't see is while it was random battles, you notice how the enemies move around the screen, and you have a bunch of attacks that do AoE stuff. Based on where they're positioned when you use it is how you could hit them. Like Chrono's first ability, Slash, where it shoots that beam. If there's an enemy lined up behind the one that you're attacking, it'll hit them both. And that was groundbreaking. Like, you still don't see games do that and stuff like that. Like, it totally showed it's like it stepped into the future, like literally, like joking, like you literally do that, and came back with like concepts that still aren't being fully utilized to this day. hell, they don't like Square themselves don't even utilize them to this. Like again, maybe it was just too difficult, complicated. I don't know, but they did all that in 1996 when we still had games where you could barely where you just had to watch them like swing their hand and it did the damage across the screen for some reason. Like they're literally running across the screen, hitting the enemy, jumping back. All the weapons are animated. They're all different colors. You can see which weapon you have. Like they were so ahead. Like
I can only imagine how long it took to develop this game.
I don't
for like that time period.
But I will look that up real fast because now I'm curious, and that seems like a good question. Talk about the game for a second.
So, from an outsider's perspective, is there, because we've all played a lot of RPGs over the years, is there a certain mechanic in this game that makes it your favorite? Because you said the story isn't exactly like memorable and the lines aren't super memorable. So,
to me, I love the story so much. I love like the story mixed with the music. Whoever the guy who composed the music, Doug knows his name. I forget it already.
Well, actually, I learned a new fact. I thought it was Nobuo Uematsu, but he actually wasn't the main composer. He stepped in when the original composer got sick and finished it, which is crazy.
Okay,
because Nobuo Uematsu based Final Fantasy 1 through 10, and then came back for FF7 remake.
Who is the original composer? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm gonna tell you that in 2 seconds.
So anyway, while he's looking that up, the music fit, like they just knew how to capture almost every moment in time and every scene. Like the theme for Lavos, for example, when you first figure out what the fuck's happening to the world, like through time, like if you stay in that cutscene or that whole scene or whatever for a long enough time, that song gets to a point where it's actually like really somber and sad, and you just kind of like, it really makes you like feel the moment. You're like,
so they use the tones right in every scene.
Yeah. His name was Yuji Horii, and he was, like Nobuo Uematsu, he was another freelance composer.
Okay.
I guess. I'm not familiar with any of his other work. Yeah, that's all he seems to be known for in video games is this one game. Oh, he works on the Dragon Quest games as well, which I've never played.
Oh, okay.
I've never played them, but I hear they're fun.
Yeah, I mean, Toriyama does all the artwork, character design. The guy that did the music for, honestly, it looks like I should be trying this series if I like.
That's true. They even have a builder's version where you can like, it's almost like a Minecraft type.
I thought it was more like a
Mario Builder. That's what I mean.
Oh, it's like an RPG Maker thing.
Yeah, it's like a RPG Maker, kind of like Minecraft. You can build your own little. I've never played it, but I read a little bit about it.
Yeah, once upon a time there used. Well, I think they still make it, and it's on like the 50th edition. For people that were like real early entry level, like they wanted to make a game, but they didn't have any concept. There was this game called RPG Maker, and they made like 9 million versions of it. Yeah, and I think
it was fucking impossible.
Yeah, and that's easy moding. They took all the hard work out of it and put that in. Yeah. It's just like I never got into that because I don't know.
No, we owned that. Me and Adrian owned that game too.
Really?
And I think I had it in all of 2 times.
And you're like, what the fuck is this?
I couldn't.
Yeah, you had to like build the world from scratch with a bunch of like pre-existing tile sets and things, and then you had to go in and fill in all the dialogue and balance all.
That sounds like I'd rather play Mario Paint.
I don't know. Well, yeah, you got that sick fly swatting mini game. Hell yeah. And you can make songs.
You can make music. Yeah.
But I don't know why they thought kids were going to be able to figure that shit out themselves.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like that's something you could have been like. That was like I for a brief stint I went to DeVry for a game design course, and the program we were using was called Game Maker, and it was kind of reminiscent of that, and that's why I stopped going to DeVry because like this isn't enough. I need to just go learn actual.
It was like playing the old text-based games, except you're not making decisions; you're just creating decisions.
Yeah, which
you get to play God.
There's definitely there's definitely appeal there for the person that always wants, the guy who always DMs and D&D. I bet they loved the shit out of that. If they were into it. But yeah, just with the whole Dragon Quest thing. But to answer the question that you had asked, I was the one who kind of said that like if I'm I'm not going to pretend that we haven't had 25 years of, growth and improvements in the game industry. Like, it's really, like, the Super Nintendo era specifically holds up exceptionally well because it was like the pinnacle of what games were at that time before we transitioned into like the 3D era and everything got weird for a while, like a long time. It was like the penultimate classic gaming experience is probably the Super Nintendo. If I have to be real, it's the one almost everybody except like a handful of us that had a Sega. I didn't have a Super Nintendo until after I had a 64, and because I had a Sega, and I'm not complaining because Sonic rules, but I missed out on a lot of experiences there.
Adrian and I pretty much owned Final Fantasy games. Final Fantasy, and then I guess we owned a couple of those Phantasy Star games.
Oh, wow!
And then a Zelda or two, but other than that, yeah,
those are good games. Those are all good. Like,
yeah,
I mean, you have like we don't need to get into that right now.
Well, that's crazy to me that somehow you guys had Final Fantasy games, but like Chrono Trigger just kind of escaped your grasp.
Don't forget,
it did.
Chrono Trigger nowadays, like a cartridge for the Super Nintendo costs like $150 minimum.
Yeah,
but
wow, okay,
yeah, like it was rare. My neighbor had it. That's why I got to play it. That's the only reason I know it exists.
And Mike actually had a dad who loved him. So.
Well, no, we did, but that's not. We borrowed it from my brother's friend. So that's the only reason I got to play it so early.
Yeah, like I didn't know. But I mean, back then, like it's not like we had every game shoved like announced with an announcement to tell us that they're going to tell us it's coming out.
That's also true.
And like you had to know somebody that knew somebody or hear it on the playground back then.
Adrian and I we got Nintendo Power once a month, and it told you what was coming out, but those games didn't always come out when they said they were going to.
And sometimes they were incredibly wrong.
Yeah, and sometimes they were very wrong.
Why, Doug, then, is this game, like, because I kind of answered it, why do you love this one? I mean,
I played, like I said, I played and beat it the first time when I was 12. Like, it was, and I was obsessed with, like, these kind of games back then. I had already played like Final Fantasy 4, which was 2 on the Super Nintendo, but Japan looked down on America a lot back in the day, and so they didn't give us a lot of games because they thought it was too confusing or too much for us. But nowadays, like, all right, you can have all of them. So if you ever hear me say Final Fantasy 2, I mean 2 for the NES, not 2 for the Super Nintendo, because that is 4.
For the most part, Japan's not wrong. We're a bunch of idiots, but some of us would have been fine.
Back in the 90s, I think we were a lot better off than we are now.
And that's a question for Culture Shocked, the podcast about cultures, not pop culture.
Culture is shock.
Culture shock.
Shocked culture.
Yeah, we're here for pop culture. We don't care about any of that shit.
So we kind of, preference this. We've kind of did like a nice little intro about the game, some fun facts. You want to kind of get into the meat of it?
Let me finish getting to the point I was trying to make about answering Corey's question, because we kind of...
My apologies.
Yeah, no problem.
Can he finish?
I'm back. All right. I'm back. All right. It's about dignity. Sorry. Canada, we love you. Anyway.
That's true.
But I can't sit here and, because I ingest all gaming, everything. Like, I watch documentaries about games I've never played. I'm just obsessed with learning about it. So I've over the years I've learned to take away my own personal feelings on games and look at things objectively from a design standpoint, like what makes it good, what makes it bad. And Chrono Trigger holds up exceptionally well, but it's the same reason I say Super Mario 64 is not the best 3D Mario, because Odyssey took everything it laid the groundwork for and improved, and they just improved upon it to the point where, like, the only people that say 64 is better than Odyssey are people who can't step outside their own nostalgia, because it's just objectively incorrect. Had to get that out there. I know I'm going to upset some people. But
you just upset Corey.
Yeah, I like 64 more.
No, it is a good game, but it's not a better designed game. It's just simple.
Obviously,
but yeah, like it's okay. Like I love Chrono Trigger, but like there have been leaps and strides in that. Like we have Final Fantasy X now.
Yeah, 10 looks 1,000 times better than Trigger, but
and not just that, but like JRPGs specifically. I'm not somebody who cares about graphics and shit like that. I like a game that's fun, like above all else. But JRPGs themselves are just really magnified by voice acting and good visuals to like help drive the narrative. Because in these old games, sometimes you had no idea what the fuck was going on. You were just like, hey, here's this, oh shit, something bad happened, and you're off. It's like, you have no idea what, and like some of the shit, like in the really old ones, they didn't even tell you where to go. You just had to literally walk around the entire map till you happened to figure it out.
Yep.
Just replaying those Final Fantasy Pixel Perfects. I'm on Final Fantasy 2 now because I'm going to 100% them all. And it's like, man, I forgot what it was like to literally have to pull out a guide, or this is going to take me 400 hours of walking to the wrong place. But like it holds true to me because it was made exceptionally well. It was so far ahead of its time, and it did things that games today still don't do. But yeah, the story I think is like, I love it, but it's a really simple time travel story, and they didn't fuck that up. But it had good characters. I think that was the thing that really, in a time where a lot of RPGs just had generic fighter, generic thief, these had like fully fleshed out characters with depth and like troubles and like things like the villain the character you thought was a villain was actually not, and it was super deep at parts.
Even though Chrono doesn't fucking talk at all.
That's what's hilarious is you guys are like describing everything that Adrian and I love about Breath of Fire 3, and that's why it's our favorite.
I know
I've never played Breath of Fire 3.
I've never played through it all. That's just been my thing.
It's extremely deep, and the characters aren't just generic. And
because
some good guys,
I do know, because I believe the two guys that save you in the beginning actually end up, you have to like take them out later or something.
Actually, one of the two, they're
is it
like
the short
best
one or the
friends,
tall one.
You end up having to kill the short one, but he like,
oh wow,
he's like the more of the warrior guy.
Yeah, he always seemed like the right hand, like the second player to that other guy.
He ended up having a different ideal than you did. You ended up having to destroy him to.
Yeah, like I do need to go back and play that game. I know the rest of I don't ever hear anything about the rest of the series except 4. People say
the
4
rest of them are real. The rest of them are pretty bad.
I hear 4 and 3. That's what I hear when I look
4
into it.
Changed every single thing about
the game. That's the thing about Breath of Fire. Every single one was wildly different.
Yeah,
it wasn't like there was no.
And I downloaded or not downloaded, but I paid for that the emulators on the Switch to play,
I tried to play
all the old
2.
games.
That was
and I tried to play 1 and 2 for a while, and they're just so boring.
They are, yeah. That's exactly. It was like, what? Like, these suck. Like, that was all I had.
Did not care.
Yeah, I played through the very beginning of the one where like the demons came, killed the town. I was like, this is fucking boring as hell.
It was so.
And
boring.
I sucked. Which was disappointing because it was like, it's a Super Nintendo, but that just speaks volumes again for how ahead of the time Chrono Trigger was. Those came out on the same console. Think about that.
Yeah.
Games just weren't. That's really what it is. It's just, it was a pillar of game design that was so ahead of everything else because it had in every slot, it was like the best in the industry at that time was slotted into that position. So it was, they were literally referred to as the dream team. They were the best at what they did at that time in Japan. And like, I mean, we barely had a fucking game studios and shit here then, so it was pretty much the top of the world.
And sadly, those guys never worked together again. Not all 3 of them.
Yeah, it just wasn't meant to be. But
maybe it was toxic. I don't know. We don't know.
Like Kira Toriyama's been a little busy, for
obviously,
writing
with a very little known show called Dragon
like
Ball
during
Z.
the Boo saga, he actually worked so hard he put himself in the hospital several times.
Yeah,
that's why it's such a wild show because he often would not sleep for days at a time while writing.
He's probably fucking delirious.
Yeah, it was like a fever dream. But yeah, that's the kind of guy he is.
Why
it all worked for me.
Oh yeah,
that's why a piece of candy was fighting a fucking super
and
bad.
I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm not just any piece of candy. I'm a jawbreaker. Anyway, but yeah. Long story short. Well, short story long rather. It was a simple question that I gave a complicated answer to. But yeah, it's just nothing was like it at the time, and I can't ever stop respecting that. Just storytelling has gotten so much better over the years. Like there's so much more you can do now. Games really, and there are stories people aren't afraid to tell now that are darker and like would never have flown back then.
I mean, I agree to an extent, but this particular story to this game, to me, like it still had twists that you didn't really see coming. Like it connected certain things in a way that you weren't expecting.
Yeah, no, like I'm not saying it was bad by any means. It's just like, I mean, you're the character you played the whole game with didn't die at the end and get to come back with a time egg, did he? No, he gave his dead dad a high five, and then it was over.
It's fun, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because another fun fact that I learned was that Chrono's death wasn't. It was supposed to be permanent. Like they had no intentions of adding a little thing in there for you to be able to bring him back to life.
It was an unfortunate sign of the times. You just couldn't.
Well, and that's Square said that it was too dark and that they needed to find a way to be able to bring him back. So they had
to Dragon Ball Z that shit and get him back in the game. You haven't got that far yet, Corey.
No.
Yeah.
I don't recognize that.
Yeah, there's nothing. No, there's gonna be no avoiding that. But
and that's fine.
You played FF7, right? You know that part where you're not like Cloud's gone for a while. That's essentially a part of Chrono Trigger.
Okay. Yep.
Chrono sacrifices himself and like literally melts out of existence. And then Chrono Trigger literally means a time egg basically, and you get the Chrono Trigger and are able to like it's this. This is a little weird.
We'll get to that.
But yeah, we'll cover that.
My favorite parts of this game are definitely the Land of Zeal.
But yeah. Oh yeah, the Magical Kingdom of Zeal is the best part of the game. But anyway, we've put it off long enough. Let's just get into the game because there's not a ton to cover, but I just don't want to miss any of it.
It's like a 6-hour speedrun, right?
Fast with 3.5 actually. And that's completely legitimate.
No, I think 6 hours is the shortest time it took me to beat it.
That's pretty good.
I want to, since we talked about speed runs before you get into this, I want to give Adrian a shout out. I don't usually do this, but the world record for like the fastest Resident Evil 2 remake speed run was like 54 minutes.
Yeah.
Back when Adrian was trying to speed run it, and Adrian hit it in like 57.4.
Wow.
He actually got really close.
That
to
is
the
really
world record at the time.
The heart, like
Adrian nailed it.
Yeah, I'm really into speed. I follow speedrun. I love it. Like watching speedrunners and stuff. Those 3 minutes, you wouldn't believe the small things you have to do to save it. Like the tiny little thing. You don't pick this up now because you'll come back here in 20 minutes, and that's when you can get it to save 2 seconds. That kind of shit is what they figure out. So like that's really impressive that he got that close. Yeah, and he probably wasn't. He was like super looking up the the routes that the runners.
No, he actually through all of his playthroughs, he wrote down what took him too long.
He routed it himself. Okay,
he routed it himself on a piece of paper. He showed me the paper.
That's hard to do.
He took it all across the stuff out that he did wrong, and then he finally got it down to 57 minutes reading that paper as he did it.
Damn, that's impressive. Yeah, these guys they'll run it thousands of times to get those times. So like the fact he got down to that low,
and it only took him a couple weeks to get down that low.
Maybe if he didn't read the paper and just memorized it, he might be able to cut those 3 minutes off.
Maybe.
Speedrunning's hard, Mike. Even the people that have ran beaten Ninja Gaiden 75,000 times to save 2 seconds over the last world record, they occasionally they had to write it down for a while and just follow the guide because there's just too many specific things you got to do it perfect. But yeah. He probably should have worked. But yeah, no, fuck Adrian. You're right, Mike. I'm with you here. I forgot we were talking about Adrian. Fuck him. Anyway.
He perished, remember?
So this game, it just starts out. You hear some sound of wind, some government drone, birds.
They're not real, man.
Yeah, no. Government might be listening. Gotta call them birds. Shouldn't even said that.
Poking our
Yeah,
heads.
And your mom tells you to wake up. You're going to be late because you got to go to the Millennium Fair. No reason. It's just the fair. You go to the fair, which was interesting.
The Millennium Fair. It does say the Millennium Fair.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the name of it that everybody says because it's celebrating 1,000 years of like the existence of Guardia.
Yeah. Now,
and the new Millennium Bell that they replace once every 1,000 years is being put up.
There's no voice acting in this game whatsoever. So the pronunciation of names is kind of all, hearsay.
It's the Millennial Fair. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. It's millennial. It's spelled.
Sure, it's millennium.
It's MILLENNIAL. Millennial. Because a millennial.
You mean kind of like 4 aging millennials giving our outdated opinions?
The setup was there.
Yeah, you're right.
We were meant to do this episode, guys.
That's fucking my bad.
Yeah, it's the Millennial Fair, which is just because it's only important because it's about the bell that they replace every 1,000 years.
Which that's what I was gonna get. That's what I was gonna get into, and I don't know. Some people pronounce it leany, and some people pronounce it lean.
Len, I pronounce it Len.
Fuck, see,
see. That's why back then, however you want to say it is right. And it doesn't matter.
It's spelled L-E-E-N-E.
L-E-N-N-E.
What?
Yeah.
L-E-N-N-E?
L-E-N... Len. I call it...
Yeah, I probably would have read that Lenny.
Like, see?
Myself.
We got 4 out of 3 of us. We got 4 ways to say it already. I personally think, however you said it, is right.
It's L-E-E-N-E.
L-E-E-N-E? Yeah, so Len. Yeah. Whatever. I thought of... I just assumed it was like
too easy. It makes me think lean.
Yeah, lean is probably what I would have read.
Len, I was 12. I misread. When I read Harry Potter when I was in the 4th grade, I thought they were wearing clocks, and I was really confused at the very beginning. Ready? Everybody's wearing clocks today. That is weird, Uncle Vernon. I'm confused too.
Why does he have an invisibility cloak?
I didn't know what a cloak was. I'd never heard that word in my life up to that point. I was from a white trash family where my dad was a steel foundry. We didn't wear cloaks.
Welcome to Culture Shock, where we discuss the fucking how you pronounce things in English.
We don't even know that most of the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, nah. Nobody really does.
But yeah, you wake up to Lean's bell.
Your mom's like, Chrono, wake up. I was like, son of a bitch. Yeah. I was sleeping.
She gets kind of like fucking snappy with you too. Like, get the fuck up.
You're gonna be late. And then she gives you money. And then if you talk to her, just like
in Pokemon, you gotta go talk to her again. Yeah.
Oh, here's some money. Here's your allowance. And then you go to the fair.
I find it weird when you show back up, like after you've been gone for a while. She's just like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?"
Time travel.
I know. Oh, okay.
and there's that fucking cat, right? You click on it, obviously it meows. But did you know that you could adopt more cats?
I was about to say that. I'm glad you got it.
If you're at the Millennial Fair, you have to play this game that's worth like 80 points, and you can adopt as many cats as you fucking want. They all just end up in Chrono's room.
Yeah,
I didn't even find that game. I was playing the Hammer Bell.
The Hammer Bell thing's the good one. The beer chugging game is borderline impossible back in the day.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
The easiest one to get points was Gato.
Yeah, got it. But come on.
Well, for the PC, the drinking one.
Try to think back to the first time you played the game, Mike. You didn't know to farm Gato for a bunch of points.
I know. Well, no, absolutely not.
Money to buy all the gear from.
Melchior.
See, I know I'm wrong, but like I said, I'm gonna mispronounce a lot because that's the name that it's been to me since I was 12, and I will never change it.
It's fine. I won't correct you either.
Meckler. And I know that's
that just
wrong.
reminds me. That just reminds me of the 10 of Horrors. It's Beckler.
I don't.
Beckler's 10 of Horrors. That's where you get
the
Chrono.
Oh, Beckler. Yeah, I was like, oh man, I forgot that exists. Because you only have to use it for. It's only. They put that entire ass tent in there for one scene, 3/4 of the way through the game. It's like,
But I think that's where you go. You go there for.
That's where you get the doll. No, you go there to get the doll to replace yourself to save yourself at the time egg. You make a Chrono doll by talking to.
I know, but I think you go in there to get the cats.
Oh, I've never got the cat ending, so I don't know.
Yeah, because it's worth 80 points at the game at the fair. Yeah, so it's at Beckler's tent.
That game sucks. I would never do that for points.
I know.
Guys, your minigame making skills are really hit and miss.
Was that one the whatever direction he went, you had to push the button or whatever. Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, and they force you to play that minigame one time, like 3/4 of the way through the game.
Oh god!
And they act like you. This is the one thing I'll say. That was probably the most ambiguous like point in the game where you just didn't know what you're supposed to do, because like, oh, we know somebody we can get that, and I had no fucking clue what they were talking. They act like you just should know this. That's
the only way you figure that out. The only way you figure that out is if you go to the future and you talk to well, I'm trying to remember. There's Melchior, there's Gasper, who's the guy at the end of time. Is Balthazar?
Yeah,
right?
Balthazar. He's the one.
When you talk to Balthazar,
future.
who's in the new body.
Well, we say the future, but
yeah, 2300 AD.
Yeah. And then Lavos destroyed the Earth in 1999. Everybody, by the way. So and I believe it too. If you look around these days.
Yeah, it's very
pretty
possible.
obvious.
Right now, there's a fucking giant ass spike turtle in the in the Earth. That's what I'm calling him.
I mean,
he looks like a turtle, and he's got spikes everywhere on his shell.
I mean, that's just Mario, right?
And a soft inner layer and a soft inner core.
Just Mario, right?
With a mushroom center or something.
Yeah. So yeah, we're at the Millennial Fair. You got to play all these stupid games. It's more fun to play these games if you ignore them at first and run up to the second part of the fair, and you bump into the woman in white.
And like, it was all she was running around. The first time I played the game, I was really shocked when I walked towards her and we just like exploded in either direction. It was like, what the fuck just happened?
It's like a really loud noise too. Like, it makes it sound like you guys butted heads like to the force that you should be bleeding.
And somehow her whole ass necklace came off of her neck and onto the ground when you walked into it.
What you don't know is Chrono is actually secretly a Saiyan.
Did she not realize that 80-pound necklace fell off her neck?
No, she did. Like, I mean, if you,
yeah,
and it's actually funny because there's a trial later, and every interaction you do at this fair is weighed in how that conclusion happens. And one of them is trying to pick up the necklace before asking her if she's okay. So if you go to, because it's shining on the ground, it's like, oh, I want to go pick this up. And then later on, it's like, you tried to steal, you clearly just ran into her knowing she was the princess of Guardia for financial gain because you cared about the necklace more than if she was okay after.
Princess Nadia.
It doesn't matter though, because like, even if you do it perfectly and get all not guilties, they still lie and say you're guilty.
Yeah.
But it's just like,
so the only difference is if you end up if you're found not guilty,
don't
you
eat
get like an extra care package.
There's lunch on the table that if you eat fully heals you, but there's a blind man, it's his, and he's a witness. You stole his lunch. You stole a blind man's lunch.
How does he know?
Because he couldn't.
Oh no,
I don't know. I've never understood that, but if you eat it, he knows.
It's Daredevil.
Where'd my lunch go? It is Daredevil.
You got to return the cat to the little girl. Like, what the fuck is up with RPGs and losing cats?
That took me way too fucking long.
You don't even have to do that. She just comes and testifies for you.
But it helps. It helps you in the not guilty verdicts.
Oh yeah, it just doesn't matter if you get not guilties. That's all.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I gave up on that one. I don't know.
There's the part when you're talking to Melchior and he's like, "Hey, say, do you think you can convince her to sell that pendant to me?" If you say yeah, sure, let me check. That makes you guilty.
He is one of the most important characters in the entire game, and you don't know it because he's just a traveling weapon salesman.
He knows exactly what that pendant is
from the year 12 mil. So you're in
12,000 BC.
Yeah, 12,000 BC.
And this you're in 1000 AD.
Yeah, and you're in 1000 AD. He's from 12,000 BC because of events that we'll get to. Like, so they do lay it out well. He knows what that necklace is. It's like a fucking a talisman that's passed on through the royal family for fucking untold generations, made from shit that you can't get anymore. Because the world was actually hyper advanced in 12,000 BC. Like, they were a magical kingdom that floating in the sky, where everybody had like magical intuitive like knowledge and like great knowledge and stuff. But it came crashing down one day and went back to this, like, the fucking, everybody was like a fucking poor dude wearing rags up through the Middle Ages to 1000 AD.
But they were the earthbound ones, and then they basically called the people in the Kingdom of Zeal the enlightened ones, right?
That's the name they gave themselves. They were kind of full of themselves.
They kind of sounded like if you ever when you talk to them, we'll get obviously when we get to that point. They talk like they're in a cult.
I mean, they're the rich upper class, and the people that live down on the earth are all like poor fucking savages, and that's
if you get to certain parts of all RPGs or JRPGs, there is a group of people that are a cult almost every game. That's a pretty common theme throughout RPGs,
especially JRPGs.
Like the Queen of Zeal. The Queen of Zeal has them all fucking brainwashed.
Well, no, because she's brainwashed by.
Right. Yeah. But I don't know if it's brainwashed.
It goes literally deeper than that, like into the earth. Deep.
Right.
But yeah. But so you go to the fair. You're supposed to go meet your friend Luca. She's showing off a new invention. You run into the princess of
who calls herself Marl.
Yeah, who's just Marl. You don't know she's literally the princess of the kingdom that you live in. And she just wants to hang out at the fair, and you run around having. Oh, and there's a point where she wants candy, and if you try to move, she's like, "Stop rushing me," and that's another thing that counts against you if you don't just stand still.
Because then it makes it seem like you're trying to kidnap her.
You have to wait like 2 full minutes without moving for her to pick her fucking
it's
candy.
So fucking annoying.
And if you try to move, she's like, "Don't fucking like, bitch, get back here!" And then
oh my god, I rushed her so many times.
And the more times you do it, the longer it takes because you keep stopping the time.
Yeah.
And then you go up there. Luca, who is Bulma from Dragon Ball Z exactly to a T.
Yeah, basically.
Same. She's an genius inventor, adventurous personality, isn't afraid to get her hands dirty. She was always that character. She's more advanced than Bulma. She's building fucking teleportation devices in a time where people are still running around attacking people with swords. She has ray guns from the future and makes conveyor belts and shit. Like, people are still walk places. Like, there aren't cars and shit at this point. And her and her dad are, like, basically paving the way, like, building the future right there in your face.
My question, you talked about the weapons. Where did Marl, why is she carrying a crossbow? Like, why is the princess of the Kingdom of Guardia carrying a crossbow?
Because crossbows are badass.
Mike, you know, the woods that she has to travel through are infested with monsters.
That's
Mike.
True.
If she ever wants to leave the castle, she has to fight. I don't know. I just made that up right now. So, I don't know. I've never questioned that, to be dead honest. I've come to the conclusion a long time ago that JRPGs just in the world of JRPGs, everyone has a weapon at all times. It's just no matter what time period.
And they clearly are hiding them up their ass.
Hey, we don't talk about that. We just it's somewhere in her belly, open upper top and pants where
they're all actually lizard people, and
no,
inside their skin.
We'll get to the lizard people later.
Oh right, reptiles.
But so you go there. She's like, yeah, you're not a pussy, right? Get on my teleporter so these people can see how it works. No, everyone's afraid of it. You know, like, it'd be like if a fucking guy now took a Dorito to a peasant in the 1600s. It'd be more cheesy extreme flavor than he'd ever had in his whole life.
Probably kill him.
Exactly.
Very possible.
Wouldn't know what to do.
His whole body would shut down.
I imagine food back then had virtually next to no taste because we genetically fixed it.
Yep.
And improved
unless you're eating chicken.
No, even chickens back then were like a fucking fifth the size of modern day chickens because we have scientifically changed everything.
Oh yeah,
GMO,
and it's okay.
The best flavor you could possibly get back in those days was cooking that stuff with carrots and
celery lard and shit.
And lard, yeah, that was it.
And even vegetables back then, like corn. Yeah, corn as we know it today didn't exist yet. No, it was inedible.
I wish it didn't exist now.
Fuck off.
It hurts me.
We'll have to have a conversation about that because literally every item you own and every food you eat has corn in it in some capacity.
Oh no, it's
but
we'll
I'll blow your mind.
So yeah, basically, Chrono proves that he's not a pussy, and he steps onto the platform.
And boom, teleports.
Probably a little reluctantly because I feel like. What I got the sense of in that relationship, those two friends, I feel like she's always like, "Hey, will you test out my invention?"
Yeah, definitely.
And what you learn after he does teleport, and you start talking to the people that are there, like, "Wow, one of her inventions actually works." So you're like, "Oh shit, her inventions don't normally work out.
How many times has she hurt Chrono real bad?
But he still got on that teleporter because that's just the kind of guy he is. He doesn't have much to say, but his actions speak.
Maybe he can't say anything because one of her inventions ripped his tongue out.
That's beautiful.
I like that. That's a good theory.
She actually made him subservient years ago, so he couldn't say no.
That's why you only ever see him shake his head or nod his head.
Yeah.
Yes, master. Anyway.
But of course, so what, Nadia, or excuse me, Marl.
Marl being like the cool, adventurous Aerith of the game. She's
super excited.
She wants to turn now because she thought that was the coolest thing.
That looks like so much fun.
It's a pretty typical princess storyline, wanting adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially when you get later into the game, you realize that her dad just treats her kind of like a prop,
like a princess.
Like you are the princess, and this is that is all you're meant to be. Like you're not allowed to do anything else. Like so clearly,
I got that impression.
But she ain't no bitch and tells him to stuff it. I'll go where I want with this guy that you tried to execute. This is my boyfriend now, Dad. If you don't like my decisions, yeah.
But he has red hair. Oh sorry.
Hey. I took offense to that. Anyway. Nah, but he did have red hair. That is a sign you should watch for. Anyway.
He has no soul. Maybe that's also why he doesn't talk.
Souls aren't
anyway.
Real. Anyway.
Souls aren't
Nobody has
leave that to a redhead to say that. You would say that.
I can say that and nobody can call me out for it because I've been ridiculed my whole life for it, so they can't turn around and say anything else or else. You've seen that episode of South Park, right?
Yeah.
All right, then you know not to fuck with the redhead. Anyway, she jumps on, and that pendant that they made sure you knew was special and shined on the ground and told you about, and that guy tried to buy it starts reacting funnily to this machine. And Luca, in her infinite brilliance, accidentally created a portal, a rift in time and space, and ripped open a portal because that pendant reacted to it. And Chrono, being the ultimate badass that he is, the Chad that he is like, I just met this chick. I gotta go get her. And he goes jumping on in head first. No fear, right? And you're just in the woods.
As soon as you pick up that pendant or you tell her you're going to do it, that badass fucking music starts playing and you're like, you just know.
Everyone's panicking. She tells all the people watching to leave. They were just impressed and then instantly watched like a girl just vanish into like nowhere. She went to get on the teleporter, said, oh God, something feels wrong, and like ripped a hole in space time and was gone. And she's like, well, show's over, folks. Time to go.
No explanation, but like, bye.
Typical Tuesday. Chrono you walk up, you pick up that pendant, music kicks in, and it's go time. Now you're in the woods.
But you don't know when you're in the woods.
That isn't even the first question I asked. I just didn't even know where I was. I
know you show up in the woods, you're looking around, and then these little imp fucking things come out of the woodwork, and you're like, what the fuck are these?
If you play the game a few times, you know not to farm on Gato and to actually leave and go to the woods and kill the enemies in there for a much better experience. And so, and they're a different color than those versions, and they're stronger than those versions. So
the blue ones, yeah,
the brown ones and shit too.
The blue and the brown ones, they suck.
They suck.
But the green ones are easy.
Doug freeze a little bit there.
Yeah, I was like, what?
What
happened?
We're going to talk about the black ones too that are way later.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Anyway, you get through the woods and you're in a place that, everything, well, it's shitty and everything's foggy in the past, apparently. That's how you can tell the difference is there's just a thick layer of fog and despair everywhere.
Here's what it's darker because it's the Dark Ages.
That doesn't explain the fog.
I mean, they had to put something in there.
And there's the music's more depressing. Everything's like literally like down. Well, they're at war, I guess, is the explanation.
They're at war with Magus, which is the first time you learn about
the kingdom of Poor that Magus is exploiting.
Yeah,
really small detail that doesn't really come up much.
But they're always like the Magus's troops.
I mean, he was king shit.
I mean, Magus was a badass.
Yeah.
So, you come out in the woods, you fight the Zimps when they first come out, and you're like, well, what the fuck? Okay. And meander your way off this mountaintop, or like I guess not really the top of the mountain, but kind of like there's conveniently ladders and whatnot to get down.
Yeah.
I never stopped and thought about that.
Dude,
why were those ladders
overanalyzing everything?
That literally empty clearing in the woods. Why was it built perfectly?
That's all fucking old RPGs.
I know.
And shit. Just
my wonder though, if you really want to like analyze it, that is where a certain young purple-haired child is found by a green ugly fucking thing. So maybe he built the ladders.
Because that was by the mountain.
You sure that wasn't on the same mountain?
Yeah, that was on a different. It looks like
the same clearing.
That was a different continent. Because that was down in that other continent there.
That's where they ended up building his castle at. Yeah. You're right.
All the woods looked exactly the same, just had a different shade of color depending on the time that you're in that game. Like it was the Super Nintendo, they get a pass. You have limited palette choices there, right?
That's fair, yeah. So you discover that you were on what was called Truce Cannon, and you kind of go to the houses, you kind of try to figure out what's going on. And if you go to the villages and whatnot, and you talk to people, you hear, oh, hey, they found the queen on the mountain.
Quick question for Corey. I have a friend who could not figure out where to go at this point. Did you have any issue figuring out where to go at that early stage of the game?
I don't remember being confused there. No.
Yeah, and this is a friend of mine who is one of the smartest people I know on Earth, and has played every fucking game under the sun. And he said he couldn't figure out he didn't know where he was supposed to go. The game didn't tell him anything, and I couldn't remember not remembering, so I honestly couldn't argue with him all these years. It's like, I did this when I was 12. It could not have been that hard.
So one of my only issues with Chrono Trigger is that it doesn't kind of hold your hand through it. But no, I don't remember being confused there.
Can you say that again? You said it.
One of my only gripes is it doesn't really hold your hand. Sometimes you really do got to figure out what to do.
Okay,
especially if you miss one little detail. You're going to be confused.
I've played this game so many times that I can't remember.
Yeah, you don't realize that anymore.
How I figured this shit out.
Yeah, I'd imagine after a while you don't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, to Doug and I, when we play this game, we know to just come straight off Truce Cannon and go straight to the woods and go to the kingdom or the castle.
I have like a whole route for the whole game.
I may have accidentally just went straight to the castle, but I did.
I guess that like it's the big, like when you get there, you come out of the woods, it's this big fucking castle. It's like you want to go.
It had one of the RPG tropes that pisses me off. The multiple spiral stairs where you enter 15 rooms to get to the top.
But they do that. And you're not supposed to open those chests in those because you can later open them in the future.
If you open them in the future, you can open them again in the past. Yeah. But if you open in the past, they're open in the future. They thought of that.
That's pretty good.
What I will say to your friend is, as smart as he must, as you say,
do you know Alex Oldenburg?
I do know Alex
That is
Oldenburg.
Who cannot figure out where to go.
So you literally, if you go down into the village and go like into the hotel and the shop and all those other places, they literally mention in multiple places how they found the queen in the mountain.
That they're happy and rejoicing in the kingdom. And
you think to yourself, obviously, okay, that's where I came. Yeah. That's where I came out of. They must be talking about Marl. Let's go to the castle.
Right. I finally had a unique opportunity to finally prove to know that I was right, and he was just being ridiculous.
Yeah, no, there's not one person that literally says you should probably get to the castle, like in a lot of games.
Oh no, they don't specifically go, oh, you should go to the castle. No, they don't hold your hand.
That's what I mean.
That's what I mean. He's like he plays video games like I play video games. Like it's like I hang out with him on Discord almost every day, and we play games, and like that's what we do. And we've done that since I basically lived out of his house through all of high school and stuff instead of being at my house.
I still think that's awesome because you and I both know how cool Joe is and everything.
Oh yeah, great dude.
What I actually enjoy is I enjoy this game doesn't hold your hand because it kind of makes you have to do some detective work.
I hate when the game is just like, go here, talk to this person, and then like shows a picture of them, like it's like this is them. Don't miss. It's like, but they say the queen, and you see a castle.
Yeah,
some basic deductive reasoning should put two and two together there. I believe this is why Japan didn't give us the good games, because we couldn't figure out how to get to the castle.
So like Doug mentioned earlier, why Marl probably had the crossbow. you go through the woods because there's all those you got to kind of meander your way. You can actually avoid all those monsters if you want to, but if you're not playing on New Game Plus, you really should fight them.
That was another unique thing. I'm glad you mentioned that. Is if you knew how to, because the monster spawns were static in the game, they weren't like random battles. So, but if you learned how to maneuver around the different enemies, you could like learn how they detected you, and you could avoid them if you wanted by choice, or you could fight them and stuff. And that was something unique to a time when only random battles existed.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this: the first time ever that I decided to fight every single one was when I started playing on PC because I didn't have a New Game Plus to go off of.
Every monster.
So, yep. Oh, I purposely kept. I was grinding.
Yeah, I kind of died a couple times because I was trying to fight everything.
Yeah, that could be.
Oh yeah, there's certain things I take it back. There's certain things you should know to avoid,
and not just
but
that.
If you've never played the game before, you don't.
When you don't know what's dangerous and what isn't, and what to prioritize, you can.
Yeah, I was just dying. I died a couple times.
Yeah. I look back at Chrono Trigger and I consider it like my biggest gripe is compared to games I've played at this point, I played so many RPGs. It's like I think it's a little too simple and easy, but it's not. And I just got to remember I've played it at least fucking 15 times plus beginning to end.
So you get to the castle, and when you walk in, you're stopped by the guards, and they're like, "You can't be here," and they think that the one makes a comment about you being like one of Magus's troops, and the other guy's like, "He's too puny."
Oh yeah, because you're like this radical long-haired redheaded dude with a bandana and like a fucking
spiked
karate
hair,
being carrying a sword in a time where everyone's dressed in like fucking. They're like. It's like the medieval era, and everyone's
armor
peasants,
and robes,
and you're like this radical fucking wild-looking guy with blazing red hair.
And if you didn't figure it out by talking to the people in the village, you do figure it out now that you are in fact in 600 AD. So you're 400 years in the past, and of course they're like trying to stop you, and then you hear this. Well, you don't actually hear it in the game, but this female's voice is heard to your character.
And a text box appears on the screen.
Yeah. It ends up being Marl, and she's like, "Hey, leave him alone," like kind of thing.
We come to
He's my guest.
First complaint with the time travel logic in this game.
So she goes through, and then she goes up into her room. I don't know why she doesn't lead him into the thing in the chambers, but she's like, "Leave my friend alone." And then they're like, "All right, sorry, we did not know you were a friend of the queen." And then when you go up into the throne room, she's not there. You're like, "What the fuck? She was literally just right here."
Yeah.
So, I'm not an idiot. I know that the king in olden times, they had many women that they slept with, and that's why there's a separate king and queen's chambers.
Yeah.
But so they're like, "Oh, she's in her chambers waiting for you."
She looked exactly like her.
She looks exactly like her ancestor.
So they all thought she was the queen who disappeared. Yeah. So because she got sent back to the past, they stopped looking for the queen.
That was kidnapped.
So she shouldn't be there because the queen was never found. But the first time travel paradox. But they address it. But for some reason, she's fine. Everything you talk to her, and then she like erases from existence.
Yeah.
And that's my first complaint with the time travel option in the game. She should have never been able to go back there. But hey, you had to have a story, right?
Well, let me see if I can try to kind of figure that out. So anyway,
they BS'd it so that she could tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
So after she disappeared, you had to go find the queen. And it's fine. I'm not. They can tell their story everyone want, but hey. You pick time travel, you have to come with the downsides of everyone nitpicking every little.
So if you talk to everybody, one of the people in that throne room is the Chancellor, and he just kind of goes, "Huh," and just shrugs you off like "leave me alone" kind of thing, and then walks away. If you follow him and talk to him again, he's like, "Leave me alone." Like basically, if this game would swear, he'd say, "Leave me the fuck alone."
I'm clearly a villain.
Yeah, like it's kind of like big red flag. Like, who is this guy and why is he such a dick? But I mean, you talk to enough people, they're like, "Oh, we found the queen, but she's not acting like herself." And then you go talk to her, and as you're talking, the screen kind of starts going dark, and her body starts lighting up a little green. You know, obviously she disappears after, you know, she's like, oh, I feel like I'm being torn apart. And so, of course, you run out of there because you're like, well, what the fuck do I do now? I mean, your first instinct is run. Fuck, I killed the queen. I better leave. And then you run into Luca on your way down through. Which, how the fuck did she get in without permission?
She already figured out how to recreate a fucking magical device to, like, open time portals at will. Because she's from, like...
Luca's so fucking brilliant. She's like, oh, look, I got a time key.
I can just open up time gates now. Anytime.
I can just open up the time gates wherever they are, yeah.
Luca is too, like, almost too intelligent for this.
She's like OP intelligence-wise.
And it's funny because she's, like, the shittiest character in your team, too. Like, hands down.
Yeah, pretty much.
I never use her.
I don't either, and I'm barely into the game.
I don't know anyone that does.
Then she explains to you after you like, oh yeah, she disappeared, even though you don't actually say that. They just assume you say that, I guess.
No, she just knows. Because she's Luca. She knows exactly how time travel works in this universe that she just created.
She's like, I knew she seemed familiar, and then she explains how she was like the descendant of the queen, and the queen went missing at this point in time. And since they found her, they all stopped. Like they actually do hold your hand through that explanation, at least. And then you kind of, I'm trying to remember where they kind of tell you to go to the cathedral.
This is where I will admit that I don't know if this is clear in any means, because I don't think it is. But you got to go to a church for some reason. And then,
and if you talk to this thing, they're like, what delicious humans.
First of all, a frog appears and starts talking, and he's actually like, and he's like probably the coolest character in the whole game. Like, he has a surprising backstory. I don't know how far.
He's amazing.
You went through the Magus stuff, right? Magus's castle.
Me? Yeah.
All right.
You did go through Magus's castle?
Yeah. He's like the badass with the Masamune. And,
yeah, I like him.
Yeah, slices a fucking mountain in half.
Fun fact about the Masamune. This game was translated to English in just 30 days. And the guy that translated it was Ted Woolsey. And he also did the translation for Final Fantasy VI. But when he was translating, the Masamune was originally called the Grand Leon in Japanese.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, I'm just telling you what I read.
Okay. Nah, I'll explain why in a moment.
But they changed it to the Masamune, and it said that most people surmise that this was done to try to form some sort of connection between Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger.
Well, the Masamune is actually like a legendary sword in Japanese, like stories and stuff, crafted by like a legendary like swordsmith, and it's in everything in Japan. It's kind of like Excalibur to us. It's the Masamune is like that to like Japan, and so it's in every fantasy game. It's in every movie. It's in every story. That's why I always just assumed it was correct. That's why I'm confused.
Well, I'm wondering if maybe that's why he translated it into the Masamune instead of the Grand Leon.
Smart move, because it's definitely way cooler.
Yeah, Grand Leon sounds stupid.
Yeah, especially since, you know, there are two people, one named Massa, one named Mune, and they fused to create this.
I love that they did that.
Yeah, it was like really sick. I loved it.
It was really cool.
And now I have to actually go look into that after that, because that upsets me if they didn't intend for it to be the Masamune. Like, that actually is like a black mark against the game if that's the case.
So, yeah, you go to this cathedral, you talk to these nuns.
Oh, and
air quotes.
We got to start cutting out all the little, or else this will take us as long as playing through the game.
Yeah, you get to the cathedral. You discover the royal pendant or whatever. Like, there's a hairpin with the royal seal on it. And as soon as you pick it up, you get attacked. And then the frog, the character literally named Frog, comes out and he helps you and rescues you. Luke is obviously afraid of the frog.
You have this fight with these four enemies that whoop your ass, and he just pops down and one shots all of them like a badass mother. This frog fucks. Like, okay.
Oh, he fucks for sure.
Yeah,
he definitely fucks. Like, that's why when he's in your party and you win, he fucking flexes his big ass muzzle.
Yeah, and he licks anything he wants because he is the dominant species.
It's weird that
when
later
he heals you, he licks
abilities.
You. He does
one of his abilities, he licks you.
His name is Frog with a capital G.
Yeah. All right. He actually had, and later on you find out he was cursed to become a frog.
Yeah. So the cathedral itself,
honestly.
The cathedral itself actually is a really easy portion of the game to get through. You get to the boss, which you find out is the Chancellor in disguise as
except
Yakura,
getting in, knowing to go to the cathedral. I can't remember why that.
Yeah, I don't.
I cannot remember why. I just know that you go to the cathedral, and then
I mean, it's kind of just over there, and you see
and then
so
you have to hit that
assume.
piano key. It's like there's got to be something here, and that's it. You just got to go around pressing the button until something happens, and that's how you figure out you press the piano key. The door opens. I don't know. Maybe the characters. It's been so long since I sat there and talked to Luca and Frog, like when they're like trying to figure out what to do, if they actually give a hint or not. I just know you go press the.
I think they literally just say there's got to be a hidden door somewhere. That's all they say.
I know that since the beginning of being able to do this, there have been puzzles like that in video games where it's a piano or a door or a book or a button hidden behind something. Or
yeah, and I guess this was at that era where like. You had to go press A against everything because there was some text.
So I think they kind of just assumed eventually you would.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense for that era of gaming. Okay.
So yeah, you pretty much fly through the cathedral. You defeat Yakrar, and as long as you
Corey, did you fly through the cathedral?
I don't remember. That part of it's kind of fuzzy.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how long it took.
As long if you grind, if you, which you should, because when you grind and you don't have New Game Plus, you get that badass dual tech with Frog and Chrono, the X Slash or whatever. Well, it's very important to use when you're fighting Yakrar without New Game Plus. But Doug's just like, no.
Who needs to be able to 3-shot him? Come on.
Yakrar is not really that hard, but yeah, you find out he's the Chancellor.
They actually introduced an important mechanic that is that sometimes enemies are in a state that if you do something, they'll retaliate and stuff.
Yeah.
And you learn really hard that you can't just mash attack against every enemy in this game or you'll die. Because if he goes into that, it'll say it on the screen, hey, he's ready, don't attack him. And you attack him, he hits your whole party for like a fucking billion damage. Yep. And if you already picked all 3 of your attacks, you just lost.
That happens so many times in this game. One of the fights that is really difficult if you're not paying attention is the fight with Magus. Because his elemental magic is always changing, and if you're not paying attention to that, you get fucked hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in this game. It's not the first that did that though. To my knowledge, Final Fantasy 4, which had mechanics like that in the beginning, where if you did things, you got fucked up for it. But I don't know. I'm sure other games did it too. They can't be some unique thing.
So yeah, you go through that, then you rescue the real queen. So then Marl reappears right back where she was. You go rescue her and you take her back home. You're like, fuck it, we get the fuck out of 600 AD.
Time travel logic. Hey, you pick time travel, this is going to happen. This is why Rick and Morty won't touch it.
So, they go back, you jump down the cannon into the thing, or no shit, no, that's in the prehistoric age where you jump off the cannon or the cliff. But you go through the time gate, Luca does it.
You go
Marl's like, oh, you're brilliant.
And then you meet Chancellor Dick 2.
Yeah. Because of the events that happened in 600 AD,
you save her.
The Chancellor at that time is like, yeah, we need a better, stronger justice system, which sets you up for such bullshit.
But essentially,
in the present time.
Like you come back, you bring her home from the fair because you just saved her, and you're immediately accused of trying to like kidnap the princess and lock in prison with no chance of escaping. Chancellor tells him it's execution for no reason. He's just a dick to be a dick.
Yeah,
I hate the Chancellor.
Now, my question for you, Doug: do you wait till Luca comes and rescues you?
I do now because it's just faster to not have to fight those super shield enemies. But back in the day, I didn't know that was a thing. So there's 2 ways out of that cell. If you wait till execution time, they walk your ass all the way and put you in a guillotine. And right before that, Luca pops in because she's fucking Deus Ex Bulma and fucks up every single. Just shoots all these guards are in steel plate armor and shit, like a castle guard. She shoots them with her fucking ray gun and just blows them all away and shit because she's way too advanced for the period of time.
They're not dead. She knocks them out. So if you're smart, you go up to the knocked out bodies and you can get shelters and stuff off of them.
Yeah, she says they're just knocked out, but I'm not sure how much I believe that.
It's like all these Marvel movies when they get punched into the air and they're like, he's fine.
Yeah, I just go shoot people with guns all the time. They're just sleep. It's like that fucking Batman parody.
Yeah, Batman.
He's all tuckered out. You can't be serious.
we already touched on the trial. So obviously, when you get through the jail and everything,
trial's fixed.
It brings you,
Ain't that a bitch?
It brings you to, I think, one of the first ever like biggest like foreshadowing thing. There's that document on the floor right before you exit the actual jail that tells you about the dragon tank.
See, I wouldn't call that foreshadowing. It straight up tells you and then it gives you 5 heals. It's like, hey yo, there's a boss fight, and it tells you how to fight the boss. So if you didn't hit that, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, it's kind of like, hey, this is how you defeat this boss that you're about to come in contact
for a robotic boss fight, and it tells you its weaknesses, but I'm sure lots of people didn't click that and bitch about
sure lots of people didn't
how that dragon just kept healing itself and healing
Corey,
itself.
did you click that?
I'm not a super patient gamer.
Really?
I didn't wait for any of the stuff you guys are talking about. I didn't know any of it was an option.
Well, the whole Luca coming to save you thing, like that's not something that you're going to do on the first try because there's clearly a way
you're
out.
Like reading
it's like an Easter egg. Figure that, and just the fact that it exists, it's just easier because
it kind of surprises me that he didn't try that though, because I always seem to try those. Like, if you wait for me, this will happen. I almost always wait.
You either like fucking annoy the guards so they open to come kick your ass, and then you just fucking ruffle stomp them without any gear.
Which I don't know.
Because
you're fucking
you still have a sword. Chrono. You are the you are the supreme badass.
Mike, we already covered this. It's in your ass.
But why didn't they take your sword? Because later in the game they take your fucking weapons.
They couldn't.
Well, they cavity search you later in the game.
I don't. For all we know, like Chrono is just like a fucking cyborg, like that is Luca's like test.
He doesn't talk.
Do you guys think he has Capsule Corp tech in his belt, and his sword's actually hidden in a capsule?
That makes
I believe it because Luca created time travel and uses a ray gun in a time where people still wear like armor. And
so
in the 1600s, Luca was already making shit. Like she was like making fucking Tesla cars.
So you beat the dragon tank, you get free, and then of course the Chancellor's like after them, and you get chased out of the castle.
And spoiler: he's a villain again because he's the descendant of the guy you kill.
He's a villain again.
But you don't find that.
That's a side quest.
That's maybe the real Chancellor isn't a dick. I don't know. You only talk to him once at the very end of the game. He's locked in a chest the whole game, so he's probably angry. So I probably thought he was so dick.
So you get out of the castle. Marl comes with you. She basically tells her dad off.
Yeah, like I'm a fucking entire. She's like, no, you can't just fucking leave. Guards out, and an entire army follows you out of the goddamn castle into the woods.
And this is the one occasion where they literally direct you to where you got to go because you cannot get past them. So you can only go right. And you go into that clearing, and of course, Luke is like, "Oh, look, a gate!
Oh, I can just open a portal in time and get us out of your sky."
Everybody's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? We can't just walk through this." And they're like, "Better." And then Marl's like, "Anywhere's better than here."
They literally see you go through the gate, and their jaws will drop. Like, what the fuck just happened? Because she is a fucking Terminator, basically, to these people. And then I can't overstate enough how she does not fit this timeline at all. Yeah. She is way too.
Maybe she's from the future.
No, because. She would have known all the horror,
I know.
Or maybe she doesn't doesn't care.
Guys, do you think Lavos is Chronos?
God damn it. Doug's going to kill you.
No, because it's not possible.
I know.
He's millions of...
Lavos is an alien.
Yeah, and he crashed into the planet in 12 million BC.
Yeah, you didn't get to that point because you stopped in the second.
That's literally where you're at when you learn all this like huge fucking shit. The red star in the sky is Lavos floating towards the Earth, and he slams into it, and he literally lays dormant for millions of years, like harnessing.
He's like the reason for the Ice Age.
Energy. Yeah, he's the meteor that killed all the dinosaurs. Literally, that's why they don't exist at any other time but in 65 million BC. Nice. Well, also Chrono like genocided them, taking his ship back. You slaughter a race, an intelligent, more advanced than human race, but you have Luca's technology on your side, so there's just no chance.
I mean, Isla's a badass.
Oh yeah, she's strong as fuck.
She fucking just bites people and kills
she doesn't
them
equip
with
weapons.
Her fists.
She uses fists, and at certain level breakpoints, they just upgrade to another version and. nothing will hit as hard as she does. And if you are a crazy bastard that goes to 99, at 99 they become a god tier that only hits for max damage.
Oh, I love using lightning bite or whatever. What's that one called?
Volt bite.
Volt bite. Yeah.
I'm always a sucker for like the melee attack character in
Hell
these
yeah.
games.
And you get Chrono and her.
Yeah.
And they get and they have the dual tech Volt Bite, which is like the strong, my favorite.
So fucking strong.
It fucks up everything.
I do love she's got that rock toss or whatever it is too, where she just picks up the enemy and fucking chucks them up in the air and they fall back down.
She's a fucking she's like literally she's the queen of the fucking civilization that becomes the king. Yeah, she's like great turbo 65 million years removed.
She's like the first ever ancestor of Mars.
Yeah. And back then she was like the leader, and the dude Kino, who's a bitch and stole your rock.
No wonder she was attracted to Chrono.
I mean, Chrono is the Chad, man. Like everybody loves
He's
Chrono.
the Chad.
Luca, Marl,
I don't think Luca really wants Chrono. Dude, I don't think
because she already has him programmed. She doesn't need him anymore.
She's already sucked that dick.
She replaced it with whatever the fuck from that Rick and Morty episode years ago.
Yeah, you get into probably the most depressing time era in the game when you go through that gate in the woods.
Oh, yeah. 2300.
2300 B or 2300. Yeah, 2300.
You're in the
AD.
future, but everything's even worse than it was in the past. It's even darker and more. And there's more fog.
Everything's fucking destroyed. It's like a post.
There's like awesome domes, but they're all destroyed and smashed. And
it's a post-apocalyptic world, essentially.
Yeah, the world ended in 1999.
So you got machines. You got these machines that are pretty much running the planet, and any humans that are left.
Luca advanced technology too far accidentally created the first singularity, and an AI took over after she died off because she wasn't there to stop it anymore. But
she does reprogram one robot.
Dude, I've just realized that Luca is the downfall of civilization. Chrono Trigger. She advanced technology too hard, created AI, and they took over and enslaved the human race.
That's going to be the problem eventually in real life too.
Look, that's a time paradox.
You say that like it didn't already happen years ago.
No, I mean literally destroy civilization.
Remember at the end of the game, she's got that little baby robot? So it's a time paradox. Did she actually create the robots that they end up fighting in the future?
I am certain everything there is a product of her creation. Because no one else in this fucking universe has shown any ability to even comprehend machine, like advanced robotics, and she's just out here creating it out of fucking trees.
So I will say this, and then I'll let you take over. This game introduces another annoying mini game in the future. The speed bike
I have a 100. I can beat it 100%.
Oh no, yeah, but if you don't know how to at first, it's so fucking annoying.
All you do is do nothing till the very end and hit the boost at the very end.
Is it the bike, the jet bike?
Yeah,
is that what it's called?
Bike game. It literally,
the music's badass.
Yeah. And I'm sure the first time you did it, you got sick of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because you gotta beat
Corey, how many times did it take you to beat that
race?
I beat the speeder bikes on Battletoads, so that didn't take me very long.
Fair enough.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Fucking Battletoads. Yeah. That's a throwback.
Yeah. It's a rough level.
The game sucks.
It does.
Hey, I love Battletoads.
It's only hard because it was poorly made, and half the game couldn't be on the screen most of the time.
Yeah,
that's true.
It just flickered on.
So
the game sucks.
From crossing over, I guess didn't really mention too much about getting the jet bike. Yeah. I didn't really mention the jet bike, how you get the key to it, because there is an enemy that you have to fight. It's another boss.
No, that boss is actually a fucking bitch the first time. If you don't know, he's coming.
Yep.
The guardian droid with the two little robots, and they just
you need to keep. Yeah. You need to keep one of those guardian droids either alive, or you better fucking know how to heal really fast for that ultimate attack that he releases after you kill both of them.
No, you kill them both, so he has to resurrect them. If they're alive, he does.
I know, but doesn't he have like a killer attack when they're both not there because of it?
He does a countdown where they resurrect, so you kill them to give yourself enough time to deal damage before.
You're right. I'm thinking of something else.
Delta
where you
attack
keep
is
one of them
fucked
alive.
up.
What the fuck? One of them is.
And they also counterattack and fucking hit like a truck every time you attack him while they're alive. So you would literally die.
I think it's one of the things in Zeal that you got to keep like a hand alive or something.
Oh yeah, there's some Zeal has my fucking least favorite encounters and boss encounters of all time. The golems, man.
The fucking golem bosses.
Iron Orb, Half-Life gone. Fuck that shit. Anyway, but yeah, you fight one of the harder bosses, I think, in the game, because everything up to this point has been more or less easy and straightforward. The Guardian robot.
Is it called the Guardian?
Like Guardian something. But yeah, it's just like, basically in the future, nobody has food because everything sucks. They got healing machines that can restore your health, like literally some DBZ sand pod shit.
But
like,
you're still hungry.
But yeah, every time you get out, it's my actually I think that's just the funniest fucking thing, and it happens every time. You come out and your stomach growls, and it says, "But you're still."
They're
hungry.
like all cheering, and it's like, "But you're still hungry."
And you're clearly not hungry because you guys are all full of life and energy and hope, and everyone's like, "Is that hope? What is that?
What is that?"
It's like, it's straight up Trunks' future, man. It's like worse. This is what Trunks' future would become if he couldn't ever stop the end.
Do you think this is where Toriyama got the idea for Trunks' future? Is this game?
No, because that was already like a thing in Japan at that point. Dragon Ball started in 1985 in Japan.
Dragon Ball Z was in 88, right?
88 is long before Chrono Trigger.
I know, but I'm just trying to remember where the
88 or 90.
Timeline.
Yeah, like regardless, like it was already like and that's the show, dude. The manga came out even sooner. Like
you don't really see the dystopian timeline of Trunks's until Super. Though.
That's not true. There's a flashback.
There's like a
in Japan in the show, that scene had a special song that played, and Trunks had like a PTSD breakdown. There was also a special song for Gohan's transformation that we didn't get in English version.
I remember like a whole fucking 1 or 2 episodes in his future.
Oh yeah, there was also the special, the history of Trunks, where it shows him.
Yeah,
and Gohan was like, we saw what Gohan should have been before they ruined him and everything. Like,
yeah, when he was missing an arm.
One of the best episodes in the show was like just making fun of the fact that we won't ever get that. He was a beast, yeah, and Bulma was totally trying to hit that.
Oh, Bulma definitely hit that, and they had a kid, and that kid's name Luca.
It's all coming together.
God damn it, Corey! I can see it though.
So yeah, you fight that boss battle, which, like Doug said, is a bitch. You get through, you realize that the guy that they were looking for that went down there.
Or maybe it's not a bitch. Dead. I was 12.
For your first time playing it, not knowing how
Corey,
to beat
did you
it,
die to the robot in the dome when you had to go get the seed?
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't remember dying. I grind a lot though in these games.
Oh, okay.
You get the seed, and then you're like, oh, okay. So you take it back to them. And they're like, you want us to just plant this, like,
and you're like, that's hope for the future, bitch. We are starving to death, and we hand them a seed for food because all the food.
We're not going to make it to the future.
Like, it was protecting the fucking freezer that was supposed to have all the food, but it failed years ago, so it was just all rotted. There was like one seed. Which is the hope of the future, right? Like, that sucks. That's like, thanks for nothing.
That's a crazy fucking story.
Yeah. Then Doran, the guy, the chief or whatever of that, dome, gives you the jet bike key. You have to fight John or race Johnny.
Yeah.
Or you can choose to go through the whole fucking thing and really grind and be
I hate that area.
Me too.
And
that's my least favorite part of the entire game, I think.
No.
It's probably like the labs.
I hate the dark.
I didn't super enjoy the whole dystopian future part of the game, actually.
Yeah, when you have to go back to the sewer later on.
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy it.
Just so you can go to Death Peak. What's really funny is if you
Which is annoying to climb, another black mark for the future.
If you don't do the sewer thing because you're actually meant to do the sewer thing when you're there the first time. So if you go back,
I never do.
You're supposed to go to. No, me neither.
You just come back.
You go back and do it when you're at Death Peak. You just fucking fuck everything up easily.
Yeah, there's no reason to go over there until later.
The mini boss doesn't even get a boss theme. His name's Crawley, and you literally fucking take him out.
You're important
in like
to
2
rats.
hits.
Between you're nothing. But yeah.
So yeah, you get.
Right, now, I'm starting to see Alex's point here. I guess there is some like. Not exactly clear. I just know where to go, so I don't think about it anymore. But
we've you and I played this game 1 million times, so
Corey's kind of
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it doesn't super hold your hand in this one.
You got to stop and actually talk to NPCs and put things together.
You got to smell the flowers.
Which, lucky for me, I always did anyway, so I do that.
Yeah,
which I suppose back in the future it was hard to
back then in games they designed it that way, so like that was normal. But we've been spoiled. We've been treated like we're inept and incapable of like
even
thinking at all, to the point that we forget to even do shit like that anymore.
But that's not true, because I am actually conditioned still to this day in games. I do a lot of
me too.
Stuff.
Well, because you learn so much about the game and the story when you do that.
Well, that's true.
See, it's mostly harder for like for example, does your son play old games or just new games?
When there's stuff that I liked, he usually tries
like. I bet because he plays a lot of modern games. If he went back to play some of these older games, he wouldn't be able to pick up on certain things because he's just been taught. Not to do any.
The new generation definitely wouldn't know that stuff.
Why would I have this? You mean I got to use my hands?
Why would I go into? Why would I go into every fucking house in this village and talk to every NPC?
Yeah. Why is that NPC even there?
Why are you allowed to go in people's houses without
exactly?
FF7 remake solved that problem. They just they did. They wouldn't even let you go down that walkway. You got stuff to do. I fucking hated that. Anyway,
that was one of my favorite things about Breath of the Wild, is how they actually like kind of call you out on it when you walk into somebody's house. Like, what are you doing in here?
Yeah, some of them will.
I mean, it is like, I guess there's like the niche like Skyrim characters. Like, you can't just walk into someone's house. As in that game, you literally walk into everybody's stuff, take all their shit, and keep moving. I have 75 pillows in my inventory because I take every item.
So did I.
Hell yeah, dude! I made forts. You just
so I will agree with Corey. The future battles and everything, they kind of leave a little to be desired.
The enemies were annoying. You had all those slimes. You had the rats that stole your fucking money and your potions.
Dude,
you had
the fucking the boss
the
with
tomatoes
all
that sucked you off way too good.
Face off.
Yeah.
The Y6 or the R6 series, those fucking things were annoying.
All the robots were fucking
because
really
there's 6 of them.
They all counterattacked anytime you did anything. So if you fucking didn't kill them right, they just fucked you up. Yep. Like, the future shit. And the difficulty spike is high versus where you just came from.
So when you get through the future, and
also you don't want that future, so you kind of just hate it naturally.
Yeah, that's the thing. The thing about the future. The thing about the future is when you learn about Lavos, though.
Yeah,
and
that's when you learn about that future state of 1999.
Like to me, that's one of like the first like real like emotional scene, like parts of the game.
Oh, that's when the game finally like you realize, oh, this is the point. Like at this point, you're just like, you went to save the princess, and now you're just like lost in time. You're like, I don't actually know what the point. And then they learned about the end of the world, and so that's when it's like, oh, now I actually have to care.
And
about
then
this.
Of course, Morrow's like, we can fix this, right, guys? And of course, you get the option to say yeah or I don't think so. Which, of course, if you say I don't think so, she's like, oh, come on. So it forces you to say yes.
I'm actually glad you're here, Corey, to like point out certain things about the game that we just can't even see anymore.
Well, you don't have a whole lot of time for that left.
I know. Like we really, we gotta hit. We gotta do our focus points. We don't gotta do. We're almost doing like a rogue walk. That's crazy.
You're literally doing a strategy.
I've never known anyone else who knows the game well enough to like do this. So I'm like kind of like taken aback. Honestly, it's like, wow, someone else out there really likes this game as much as me.
Well, I am trying to kind of speed past some stuff now. Like I hate the future stuff. The Lavos thing's cool, and then you go through that time gate with 4 people, and you get taken to the end of time.
You go to the factory. The place sucks. Shit sucks. And then you find a new gate. But because you found a robot in the factory, right? And Luca, with her infinite wisdom, is able to fix a robot that was created 800 years after she was alive.
What is your command, my mistress?
In overnight, and it also
with tech that she would not understand.
Oh yeah, like it was after she just looked at it, like, I can fix this. No
She's
problem.
A genius,
and not just that, it also stole the song "Never Gonna Give You Up" by Rick Astley. It's literally the same song, almost identically.
No matter how much of a genius you are, if alien tech lands on the Earth, you're not going to figure it out.
I mean, no, it doesn't make sense since she probably created all of it. And she's probably working on the prototype back home already with her teleporter and her fucking future time gate and ray guns. Yeah. But yeah,
unless she left notes for herself inside the robot.
Not only did she fix it, she reprogrammed it, taught it to changed the way it
have
talks.
feelings.
And, like, yeah, she gave it sentience. So yeah, she turned it into a living thing with its own like goals and character. Yeah, she created like real AI overnight on technology. She was literally too smart.
She's OP when it comes to intelligence.
Without her, the plot couldn't happen. And I think they forgot that sometimes. So they're just like, oh yeah, Luca clearly can fix this. But yeah, so now you have 4 party members. Apparently, there's a rule when you go through a gate in time that only 3 people can do it at once, or you go to the end of time for some reason.
Which is one of the most relaxing songs.
I love that. It caught me off guard going there. But yeah, so you go to this stairwell in the middle of fucking nowhere, and there's an old dude there who's another super important person from the year 12,000.
But you don't know that yet.
Yeah, he's just like, sup, brah. Oh, see, you guys went through the gate with 4 people. Can't be doing that. It's been a while. It's just such a normal thing to him.
That's where you get to learn the ability to use magic, which is extremely important for the next part of the game.
He tells you to go through a door and walk in a circle, and then you have to walk in the hardest circle you've ever walked, because if you don't do it perfectly, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Counterclockwise.
And then you fight an animal that whoops your ass with magic.
Yeah,
but you got magic.
And I love how he's like, yeah, I am as strong as you are, so my appearance is however you are perceived.
You ever come back and
so, like,
fight
if you ever
him
go,
at next level?
Yeah, if you ever go there at level fucking 99.
Level 99, he turns into the final
that
form.
Fucking
no.
He looks like
it's that, but it's a stronger version. It's not there until 99, and he will fuck it. He's the hardest thing in the
game. He looks like the fused version of Masamune.
No, he's
Masamune.
It's that, but a different tier higher. It goes past that. He turns
into
that
like purple.
Yeah, he's like pink. And he's a fucking dumb motherfucker. I've never actually leveled to 99 because it's impossible.
Yeah.
It takes an impossible amount of time, and it's so unnecessary. But
I'm already level 99.
Yeah, right. That'll take you a fucking decade of grind. I did it in like 200 speed up, and it was still taking too long.
So we can rush past that. You get your magic from there.
Which
from
you learn, you get magic and you learn magic is real all at the same time. And well, I mean, you're traveling through time, which probably seemed like magic at the time, but that's just science.
He does. The old man does explain. He kind of mentions the Kingdom of Zeal. The old man does kind of mention the Kingdom of Zeal, but he doesn't call it by name. So he tells you where all the pillars of light go to. You can go at this point. You can go to the prehistoric era, but you don't want to do that yet. Yeah. So I love that you go back to your timeline, but you come through fucking these imps' cabinet, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And then there's a piece of cake you can eat. It's just to help restore your life. You don't have to. People, you can go to the village there and talk to all these people. They're all butthurt that Mag is lost and they hate humans and yada yada yada. So, but if you do that, you get warned of the monster that's the boss fight in the cave.
Oh, I guess I didn't pick up on that.
But right before you go into the cave is Melchior's house, which is that weapons guy at the fair. So, if you go in there and talk to him at that point, he just tries to sell you weapons. You don't have to go there until after you get the broken pieces of the Masamune. Okay. That's where you're at now. But wait, well, you said you went through Magus's castle, right?
I think so. I'm not great with names in this one. There's a lot.
The castle, like, you have to defeat 100 fucking enemies before you fight Magus, or some shit like that when you go into the castle.
I don't know. Maybe I didn't do that part yet.
We're gonna rush through this a little bit. Doug's gonna come back. And we're gonna be at Magus's castle. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So, basically, to make this really quick, you go through the cave. You learn how to use your magic correctly because everything in there is magic based, like it has a weakness. And then you fucking come out of this whirlpool right by Lucas' house. How fucking convenient. And I think you do learn that somewhere along the lines you learn that Lavos, you think they kind of make it seem like Magus is the reason that Lavos is coming to be. Like, Magus is the one trying to summon Lavos to destroy the world. So that's why you get it in your head that you need to defeat Magus.
I always thought Magus did summon him.
Well, he does,
okay.
but not for the purpose of what they think. That's one of the first major plot twists in the game.
Oh, okay.
You find out that Magus was actually summoning Lavos to kill him.
Oh,
like
okay.
he was trying to kill him.
Take care of it himself.
Yeah. So Magus actually isn't bad.
He just wanted to be the hero.
He was bad because of he was attacking, he was obviously attacking the human race as like the leader of the mystics, which is what the monster people are called.
Okay.
But anyway, moving forward, I think you go back in time to the 65 million BC first, and you go through that shit the first time.
I'm starting to think the first time is still where I'm at.
Is where you're at. Then you didn't make it through Magus's castle. Then.
Okay, then because I don't remember the 100 enemies before you fight them.
You go through all that bullshit, and then you learn. Oh no, I am actually jumping ahead. You actually don't go. There's. So the frog character that we mentioned earlier, he has a hero's medallion. Yeah. They're talking about him and whatnot. You cross that bridge. It's the Xenon Bridge or whatever, and you have to fight the fucking big ass skeleton thing. Yeah. You did that.
Yeah.
And that's the first time you meet Ozzy, that green fat dude. Fun fact: all of Magus's henchmen are named after musicians.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's actually really cool because Ozzy is the first one you meet.
Yeah,
and then there's two other bosses before you fight Magus in Magus's castle, named Flea and Slash. Nice. So it's pretty cool. So that's a kind of little fun fact there. You go through the whole thing trying to find you go to talk to Frog. You find out where he lives. He's like all sad and depressed. He's like an emo frog. And he's like, "Oh no, I'm not good to do anything. I should never let the queen get to where she was."
So when you walk in, he says, "I missed you."
Yeah. And he's like, he's basically at that point, he's like, "Work sucks. I know." So, he's all depressed. You don't find out that he has the Masamune, but it's just broken. So you got to do some real weird shit. You realize like this kid has his medal and he's portraying and pretending to be Frog. So everybody thinks he's this hero. And then, so you did the mountain then, right?
Yeah.
You went up that mountain.
Yep.
Okay. And you did fight Masamune.
I did.
Masamune. Yeah. So you got the other portion of the sword. You go back to Frog, you realize in order to fix it, you need the red rock. And that's why you go back to the prehistoric era because it's the only place it exists.
Yes. And that's where I am.
And that's where you're at. You're at the rare red rock part.
Oh,
okay.
You really did pick up good.
I told you I was going to try.
Oh, then you actually haven't done the Masamune part yet or Magus's castle because that'll comes immediately after.
I haven't done Magus's castle, but I did Masamune mountain.
You beat that boss?
I beat that part.
I consider that one of the hardest bosses in the game, in my opinion. It is one,
like the first portion when it's just Masa
when they fuse.
Mune, when they fuse is one of the hardest parts of the game.
And he turns into Chad Man fucker over there. Chadman fucker.
So that's one of the beauties of this game is that like you don't have to follow it like chronologically as they would want you to.
Chronologically.
Well, they're definitely well, not gates because Luca would just open them, but there are definitely barriers.
There are barriers set so you don't do certain things, but like you could do the Masamune part before you go back and do 65 million.
No, you can't because you have to have the hero's medallion to gain access to the mountain, which you can't get until the kid drops it.
Then Corey, you did make it through the first prehistoric part. Then maybe you did do Magus's castle.
Okay, because I'm not good with the names.
No. I have it in order. The red rock and following the footsteps comes before the Masamune. But I'm looking at on the frog because you do get the first part of the sword. But you're going to get the dream stone. So Melchior, if that's how you want to say it.
Melchior.
Yeah, that's probably correct.
Yeah.
I'm going to call him Meckler like the idiot 12-year-old I was.
You can keep calling him Meckler. I don't care. It's not going to hurt my feelings.
I taught myself words by reading books and playing Japanese RPGs that had text boxes. No one in my house could say any of this shit.
I explained to him that Melchior's house is the one right before you go into Hekran's cave.
Yeah, and he's also a fucking super advanced guru of time.
Yeah. No, that's Balthasar.
Oh, yeah. Which is another super advanced guru. You've met two of the three already.
You go through the whole sort or prehistoric part. You learn that the reptiles are really fucking strong and advanced. and they steal your gate key. So the whole purpose there is you gotta go fucking get it back.
You did the shorter the village. So you went to the village of Yeah, you were there. You went to Hecarim's cave.
Yeah.
It's like,
I sped it up like fun.
All right, I'm just getting caught up here. Make sure I'm in order. Yeah, because then you went to the and now you'd be going up the mountain for the Masamune, which is when Frog joins your party for real.
Yep.
And you find out
you get to hear one of my favorite songs for the first time when you go to Melchior for him to fix the Masamune. Because it's most of the music from the Kingdom of Zeal is a lot of my favorite compositions in the game.
Everything about the Kingdom of Zeal is like
I love the palace music. I love the upper I love the land music up when you're at the actual the sky land or whatever.
That's when you find out and everything's fucked up.
That's when you find out why everything's fucked up. Yeah,
the fucking queen.
I love Shala's music. It's just everything's so fucking good.
You find out that your stone pendant can open magical doors and boxes and all kinds and time gates. Apparently,
you get the Masamune. You realize that that's the only thing that opens a fucking gate to Magus's castle.
No, because it didn't open a gate. Frog cut a mountain in half.
Yeah, Frog's like, I'm gonna make this mountain my bitch.
He didn't open a cave. He created one where there wasn't one before by cutting a mountain in half.
And if you get the badass anime scene that's made for that, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. That scene was epic.
So you go through Magus's castle. I explained to Corey because we did kind of jump around a little bit. I told him about the fun fact about Magus's henchman being named after.
Yeah, I was gonna say I hope you picked up on. Well, that's only the end of the North American release. That was a joke for us.
Yep.
Ozzy, Flea, and Slash, and their second forms are way harder than the first forms.
Oh no, they're so
and Ozzy kind of and there's a Donkey Kong joke and all kinds of shit.
Ozzy's so fucking easy.
Yeah, he's comic relief. Flea and Slash with the fights, and then obviously Magus.
Magus, yeah.
Well, Ozzy's pretty weak nowadays. So
you find out Magus is also from 12,000 BC and was yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This is what I was telling Corey. The very first major plot twist to this game.
Yeah.
No.
The first major plot twist to this game is in Magus's castle after you beat him.
Dude, okay, so you walk in this hallway, and as you walk, it's a pitch black. As you walk, fucking these blue flames flicker up as you get there. And it's set up to be it feels like a final boss fucking situation. And as far as you know,
it
Magus
makes it
is
seem
the big
like
baddie.
it. Yeah.
And it's epic as fuck. And then you get to the end and it lights up and he's in the middle of something. You interrupted him.
Yep. Because Magus and Lavos are the only ones that have their own theme when you battle them.
And Magus was there the day that Lavos fucked up everything in 12,000 BC. Because he
wanted revenge.
Yeah. They basically learned to harness the power that Lavos was getting with these machines that was literally sucking, but it corrupted the queen, who was the ultimate, the strongest person alive.
She essentially was
that's Magus's mom.
Yeah, the Queen of Zeal is Magus's mom.
Yeah, she was Turbo Magician Supreme.
She was basically possessed by Lavos at this point. She was really no longer Queen Zeal.
Yeah, this machine that was generating energy, basically. She thought she was going to work with Lavos, but Lavos corrupted her, basically, and she turned into this turbo evil fucking thing. But you don't know that yet. But so Magus is in the middle of this ritual because he's summoning Lavos to try to finally get revenge for fucking killing his sister and fucking up his mom and everything.
The only person that Magus ever gave a shit about was his sister.
He never gave a fuck about any of these wars or anything. He was using all these people to the sole purpose of being able to do this ritual to summon Lavos to whoop its ass.
Wow.
And then Lavos fucking obliterates all of you because he's the fucking he's one of the final bosses depending on how you play the game.
What happens is, Lavos, he comes and, Magus is he's too early. And what ends up happening is you get sucked into this time gate that...
First you fight Magus, then Magus dicks on you and knocks out your whole party. And then Lavos dicks on Magus. So you're not even a step away from Lavos. You're 2 steps removed from being able anywhere. You realize the game's way longer now. And then fucking Lavos's chaotic energy just fucking fucks everything up and you all get flung into time somewhere.
And you get thrown back into 65 million BC.
Separately or all together?
Well, Magus got thrown into...
He got thrown back to 12,000
He got
BC.
thrown back to 12,000 BC, whereas you guys got thrown back to 65 million BC.
Yeah, he had to be careful because his child self was there.
We'll get to that, what he ends up doing, but... So now we're at the point of the game where Corey stopped. You're back in the prehistoric era. You learn, I think, Kino, which is Ala's fiance.
They're they're fucking they're cave people in a matriarchy society. It's the queen's bitch.
Yeah.
And
he's kidnapped by the reptites. Yeah.
He's not kidnapped. He steals your shit and tries to help the rep. Oh no! He's in prison.
That's the first part.
Yeah, now he's just locked up.
Yeah. The second part, he gets kidnapped, and so you go and get the pterodactyls, and you go and go to save him.
You get to ride pterodactyls, which is kind of cool.
And then you fight, which is another hard boss battle, which is Azala and
it's a fucking Tyrannosaurus.
The black Tyrannosaurus Rex is fucking huge.
It basically just does a countdown, and every time it ends, it does this fucking attack that fucks your entire world.
It's awful. Yeah,
depending on how you play,
in that party.
It might just kill you.
So you go through that, you defeat it, and then Azala, which is really upset that you took him out. She kind of says something really nice towards the end, right before she dies. Which I think she says something along the lines of like, I really hope you guys can figure it out.
She also lets on that they're more advanced than people by far. They have better technology. She knows what Lavos is somehow.
Yep.
And knows that it's going to like bring destruction to the earth. And then a fucking meteorite comes barreling into the ground.
Literally crashes and destroys the entire Tyranno layer.
Shoots down through into like the core of the earth where it's going to be for the next until 1999 and when he wakes up and fucking kills everything.
And as soon as it does that, it creates a new time gate right where it hits. So that's really your only choice is to go through it because you can't go anywhere else. And it takes you to 12,000. No, it takes you to 12,000.
Oh, right there. Yeah. I thought you were talking about the bucket.
No. The bucket. Yeah.
At the end of time, there's a bucket that is linked to, I don't know why it's a bucket, but you can go anytime the day that Lavos rises and try to fight him if you so choose, which is the key to New Game Plus ending stuff is you use that to go at specific. But yeah, Lavos crash lands, his energy is so great, it creates a distortion in space-time, and you get to escape fucking Jurassic Age without a gate. And it's a good thing because, at least in my case, Luca hasn't left the end of time ever again. She's the party member that's permanently there. So I don't have her to OP me through the game anymore.
So you get to the most important part of the game, I think, once you get to 12,000 BC. That's when this story unravels and really you realize how
the magical kingdom of Zeal,
how everything kind of connects.
And somehow they know who you are because they have a prophet who can see the future. It's just Magus pretending to be a prophet because he was alive then, so he knew it was about to happen. He knew.
Yep, and he basically was like, "Watch out for these assholes."
And he was trying to avoid. He was trying to stop it and stop Lavos, but
because once again he wanted to kill Lavos by himself,
and the queen laughed at him. Was like, "Bitch, you think you can stop Lavos because he can't?"
So what happens is to kind of quickly get that going on.
There is no quickly. There's a little bit of shit you got to do here.
There's a lot of shit there. Well, I mean, to kind of
Melchior,
the story along.
All the gurus, they're all from now. They were like the fucking aides. They knew they were super advanced. That's why the guy in the end of time knows everything. He just knows everything.
That ends up being Gasper, who, by the way, was meant to be the 8th party member.
Good call on not doing that because he's
that's
way better
what they said.
The guy standing there in a bowler hat, in a hat and suit that doesn't exist in the game anymore.
It says that there's supposed to be an 8th party member who is an old man that wielded a staff as a weapon, and it says fans have surmised that this mysterious party member was none other than Gasper, the old man who guides the players.
Well, you know what? He was because he never would have left the end of time for me anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. They all got thrown. The 3 groups all got thrown to different time periods. One to the future, one to the past, and one to a sidewalk that floats in outside of time and space.
Yep.
And I don't know how he lives there, but he gets along somehow. Melchior.
Well, there's that bucket. Yeah. There's that bucket that constantly replenishes you. So he probably just keeps eating that.
No, but we've seen what happens in the future. He's still hungry, Mike. The 7 people that laugh at that, I appreciate you.
You do learn a lot of important shit during this time period, right before you get locked out and you can't fucking go back, and you got to figure out how to get back to
because Magus can somehow has the ability to magically seal time gates.
Well, no. That was he made Shala do it.
Oh, that's right, because Shala actually is like
she has the pendant. Yeah,
well, not just that.
Shala didn't. Yeah. She didn't want to do it, but she was forced to.
It's important to know and keep this in mind when you go to play Chrono Cross. She's actually the most magically gifted person in the entire storyline by far, way more than the Queen. Very important detail. Because I'm not going to tell you what the Time Devourer is. Yeah. But
you do meet when you go the first time. You do meet this kid named Janice, who's got this fucking cat. If you don't really pay too much attention, you don't know its name. But if you try to talk to the cat, he says Alphador only talks to me.
And you find out Magus has been a little bitch asshole since he was a little kid.
Magus has pretty much been a little dick even when he was a kid.
And that's when you find out that is how Magus knew everything about Lavos and like that day and how he and everything. And then something really important happens. A giant fucking Star Wars battle station called the Dark Omen that they created using the power of the harvest power of us goes up in the sky. But this thing exists in all times simultaneously. And it's just
the one and all time simultaneously.
Yeah, it's in every time in the same spot, and it just exists, and it's always been and now that the timeline's all distorted, everyone it's like when you talk to your mom again at this point, she's like, the Dark Omen looks so beautiful glistening in the sunlight today. Like it's just always been there. So shit's bad, and it's in every timeline.
One of the most heart-wrenching parts of the game that Doug kind of just glazed over.
Yeah, sorry.
When you do get back into 12,000 BC after you get locked out, that's when you That's when you finally meet Lavos, and you go to fight him, and all hell breaks loose, and you fucking die immediately. The Magus tries to fight it, and he gets knocked out. So then everybody's down, and then Chrono sacrifices himself, so everybody can get the fuck out of there.
Probably that you can have, but you probably don't have yet. My favorite movement, Luminaire, and it's
who are you in the game until Kronos is back?
Anyone you want.
Well, at this point, which is really cool that they do this, is
so you walk around as whoever's in the front of your party?
Well, after he dies, you can choose whatever your party is.
And once you get him back, you don't have to use him anymore. They don't make you use him anymore.
He doesn't have to be the party leader
anymore. Yeah, so you have the ability to form your party with everyone.
Weird, but kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is actually, it's really cool to do that when you go to do certain side quests, because you want certain characters in for those certain side quests to get special dialogue.
Oh, that's fair. Okay. I was going to say, there's 3 characters that you need to play this game efficiently, and that's the option. Oh, and you also, by this point, by the time you save Chrono, you have the ability to get the last party member or kill them, which is Magus.
Right after Chrono dies and the Kingdom of Zeal falls, you run into Magus at the top of he's like this cape, and he's just really sad.
And he's like, "Fuck it, I have nothing to live for anymore."
He kind of says, "He's like, do you really want to fight again?
You want smoke, or we good, fam?"
And then you most likely have Frog as your party leader, and at this point, you realize that Magus is the reason that Frog is a frog.
He cursed him and killed his
he killed his mentor,
and
Cyrus,
the greatest knight in the history of Guardia. He fucking murked him.
Frog has every reason to want to kill Magus, but if you choose not to fight Magus,
Frog is a noble man. Glenn, rather.
Glenn realizes, he's like, okay, my real problems aren't with you. He kind of realized that Magus isn't actually an evil person. He was just trying to do what he thought was right.
He was trying to save his sister.
Yeah.
Because he assumed she died.
Yeah, assume is the correct word there.
We all did, though. That's why it gets really complicated with Chrono Cross.
It's so convoluted.
You don't even know yet.
Yeah, see, I played Chrono Cross a long time ago.
Did you? Well, the final boss has a link to the character Shola. I'll just put it that way.
See, I don't remember that much about it.
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much.
Oh, there's
a lot, but I mean, we did cover the game.
And this is where it gets cool, because there are different ways to end the game. Like, you can either go fight Lavos directly, and once you beat his shell, then you can go inside and destroy his core and beat him. Or you can go to the Dark Omen in the specific timeline and fight all the way through it and fight the Queen, which is an absolute fucking menace of a boss. The hardest boss in the game.
Oh, yeah.
First turn, she uses a move that puts your entire party to 1 HP, 1 MP on the first turn. So you immediately have to, if you don't have elixirs,
start going into survival.
Yeah, if you don't have elixirs for that first turn, you already lost the fight. And she'll just do that periodically. She'll just take all the MP from somebody and just constantly. So you have to be on your. And this game doesn't have like you get to take time and think. It's active, so as the bars fill up, they can keep taking action. So you got to do it quick.
And I highly recommend that you go through the Black Omen to get the Lavos, because you're going to want to grind some more before.
It also gives you the true ending of the game if you do that.
Yep.
Yeah, because she's the actual true boss. Because killing Lavos doesn't.
Like Lavos is just this fucking like
no Lavos is brutal, but she harnessed the power and became a fucking immortal being that exists.
Think of Lavos as like Majin Buu, like the fat Majin Buu. His whole purpose was to go to planets and destroy them. That's basically what Lavos was.
He's like a virus or something.
Yeah, he crashed to the planet and he was eating it from within.
He gathered energy for millions of years and then blew up the planet.
The true villain of the story, Doug's right, is Queen Zeal. Like Galactus,
yeah. They're so advanced. That civilization that is so advanced that they learn how to harness this energy and use it to like basically make themselves like demigods. And they leave and they just peace out. Like, bitch, we're out of here.
Okay, so that's he's literally a celestial in Marvel.
Yeah,
They sit there for thousands of years and then
it crash landed, and the advanced magical race civilization that was more advanced than any other period. It was like 12,000 BC was the highlight of human civilization. That's when everyone was enlightened and understood the complexity of magic and science, and they like created this machine that gathered the energy that it had collected from the earth. And then she, with her she was super powerful. That's why her daughter Shala is like the super ultra magician and can like do all this other shit and is special, because the queen was such a badass, and she used that energy to like propel herself into like a fucking become like this crazy, just powerful being. Like when you fight her, she's just hands and a head inside this ship, and she's been alive for fucking ever, basically.
So there's this is just my theory. This just popped into my head. When you're in the future, you fight these Lavos spawns.
Mm-hmm.
So the Lavos you fight, I imagine, isn't the only one in the universe. I think they like destroy planets, and when the planets eventually die, that's when they hurtle through space again and go to another planet.
Like they crash land a planet, gather energy, and then use that energy to like create more of them, and then like they spawn like just on their own. Like spawn of them will appear, and if you let them, and they're strong as fuck when they're little tiny. Yep. If they get to grow up, they probably go fucking hurtling off into like I don't exactly.
They're like Saiyans.
There's a lot of Dragon Ball Z.
Thank you for bringing it back to something I understand.
Yeah. Hey, you were able to make a link with Marvel.
Yeah.
But yeah, like 12,000 BC is like when you realize, oh, there's a lot going on here, and it is actually really like the story is really good. It's just there's a lot of parts like up to that.
You got to pay attention. Like if you don't pay attention, you're not going to get the story.
Like I can totally see people losing interest in this game all the way through like the beginning chunks where you're just like, oh, I'm here now. Oh, I'm in here. I'm in the past now. Oh, I'm in the future. This shit sucks now.
What's happening?
Oh, there's a bug in the ground that we gotta stop from fucking nuking everything.
A bug in the ground. He's more of a turtle.
Yeah, we all have our interpretations.
He looks like a fucking turtle.
He doesn't have legs.
Yes, he does.
He's a snake turtle.
No, he's kind of like he kind of looks like a meteorite with a.
Have you seen Lavos, Corey?
Yeah, I've seen pictures.
Yeah.
Of okay. Yeah.
It's just like this thing.
I also watched your part of your. last playthrough.
Either your one stream on Boo.
Yeah.
No, I streamed a bunch. I streamed that game for a while there. I got to the point where we got Chrono back to life.
Well, maybe talking yourself through the whole game might give you that drive.
Oh, I fucking listen. I love this game. I would stream it every fucking day if I could. I would stream it and then go play it again just to get the different endings.
I don't think that would hold an audience for a long time.
No, it wouldn't. But it would hold my attention really long.
For about a week. Yeah, but a little too much detail in the parts that were less interesting. Not enough detail in the end because Corey had to be here and ruin our whole plan. But
I barely talked.
Thanks for showing up to every episode, Corey.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
You got it, guys.
No, I'm thinking when you edit this, just kind of edit out a bunch of the unnecessary stuff in the first part so it makes more, it's more consistent with the explanation. Did we skip anything?
We didn't really.
Oh, by the way, this gameplay wise, story wise, like it's a really good time. Still holds up if you go play it. I won't say go get an emulator. I'm not suggesting that in any way. And Nintendo
you can buy it on Steam. It's not expensive.
But yeah, you can also buy it on Steam if you don't want.
It's like what, $15?
Square to come murder you. I think it's 10.
It might be cheaper now. Yeah,
you can even get it on your phone.
Yeah, when I bought it was 15.
There's a mobile. You can play them. You can buy.
Why
it on
would
your
you
phone
play it on the mobile?
What? It's this. Why not?
It's so weird to me. But yes, you can play it on your phone. It's just, yeah, Corey, I highly recommend, like, just the story alone. I highly recommend you revisit this game.
Now that you know it.
now that you know that there's actually like a lot of like cool like twists and turns.
There's a ton of like cool side quests that add depth to more characters, and they like incorporate the time travel aspect, like deeper puzzles.
Like
where you have
one
to
of
go
the things
back in time to fix something in order to be able to like.
Yeah.
One of the things is you learn that Luca's mom is crippled from the like waist down, and one of the side quests is you get to go back and have a possible chance
Luca
of fixing
and her
that.
Infinite
paraplegic.
Like, yeah. Luca and her infinite, like basically, I think she just has an infinity gauntlet somewhere. She somehow stumbles upon a time gate that goes to the exact
it's
a
red time
failed
gate.
to help her mom because she didn't know how to operate the machine that crushed her legs.
In fact,
which is why Luca devoted her life to learning how to fix
the scene on my shirt.
Yeah,
the scene on my shirt is what they're all doing before she finds that time gate.
There's this desert area that sucks, but the robot stays in the past for 600 years until you come and get him again, and like terraforms the entire
forest
area and turns a desert into a forest. There's this shell you find that if you put in a special altar, it in 65 million BC, and then get it in the final game, it absorbed enough sunlight to become either the ultimate weapon or the ultimate armor. There's just all kinds of little things, like cool shit like that. Like it's an older game, so they're all really basic. It's just really neat that they took advantage of the time travel stuff.
Yeah,
and the most impressive aspect is that if you open a chest in the future, it's still closed in the past, and you can get it twice, but not vice versa. That's the fact that you even thought of that.
Neat. That is a good idea.
It's really impressive.
I mean, that's why there's a lot of things that this game did. That's one of those things that I think it was ahead of its time because they thought of something like that.
Yeah, they just thought of shit that nobody else was.
The people who developed this game, they were actually like clearly pretty fucking intelligent to do the things that they did.
They're the best they were at what they did at the time, and they created new technology in order to make this game because they refused to make it without being able to do the things that it could do.
To me, it's a crying shame that they never did another game together.
Though Chrono Cross is really good. And even more complicated and more confusing.
The elephant in the room, I've never played a single minute of Cross.
Which is why I didn't say anything else about it.
So the reason, when I was growing up, I was always told, oh, Chrono Trigger's so much better, Cross sucks.
Those people couldn't beat Cross because it was hard as fuck.
I'm going to say, to be fair, that's not an uncommon thing. Like, that's actually the Chrono, like, as far as those two games go, there's a fan base that's actually really divided on that. Like, there's so many people that are like, no, Cross is better, Chrono Trigger sucks.
And I'm over here just happy I got them both.
That's a legitimate thing that I am commonly coming across.
I think the main protagonist of Trigger is cooler than Cross.
Surge is pretty cool.
He's a bit of a pirate. I don't know.
He does dress like he has a bandana on.
I knew a lot of people that had a problem with Surge.
I don't know why.
No, he's a good character. I just think Chrono's
dead.
Better.
I guess you learned that right.
Yeah, I did know that. Like I said, I watched like a 30-minute video that tried to connect Cross to Trigger.
Done that. I wish you'd just play the game first.
I really wanted to know.
I could have just told you, man.
But I'll have to play Cross, and then we'll do a Chrono Cross episode for sure.
It's gonna take you a really long time.
That's fine. We don't have to release a Chrono Cross.
Did you buy the remaster for Switch?
No, not yet.
Make sure you don't get it on PC. Still. Get it on Switch. The PC version apparently sucks for some reason.
Is it garbage?
Japan and PC gaming, it's come a long way, but it still leaves a lot to be desired because nobody in fucking Japan uses computers because they don't literally have space in their house for them because they're all about compact living. Cell phones.
The only fun fact that I did not mention that I kind of wanted to was that there was a dungeon called Singing Mountain that was cut from the main game. And that was due to, they said the area was removed for pacing issues, which I guess they said makes sense because the prehistoric section was already kind of lengthy in the game. And the Singing Mountain was in the prehistoric era.
Yeah, with the DS remake, they added another dungeon to the prehistoric area. It's like they loved the fuck out of it.
Well, I'm wondering if that's not the Singing Mountain. They just maybe changed the name.
I don't know, maybe. I feel like they would say that if that was the case, because this has been around since the DS version, like 12, 13 years ago.
But they said it was in the prehistoric era, in the area, even though they axed it, the area whose theme was still present in the game files. So I think only when you're flying the epoch, when you're flying it through the prehistoric era, I think there's a section where you can land and it looks like you could go into, but there's nothing there.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to just erase the entrance than to scrub the assets from the game files.
Yeah,
most games do that to this day.
And of course, most of your major Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross fans know that there was another game made called Radical Dreamers that came out that was supposed to be a direct,
and it's included in the Chrono Cross HD remaster for the first time in America.
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
Yep.
No shit. No, I really need to get it.
The Switch version that you can buy is literally called Chrono Cross Radical Dreamers. Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Which it's not like a game that you're expecting. It's more like a little story, but it's so cool.
Because it says most people consider Chrono Cross to be the only game that's part of the Chrono series, but most people don't realize that there was actually another title that was released that serves as an official side story to Chrono Trigger.
Luca raised an army of orphans to do her bidding after Chrono disappeared.
And the game is Radical Dreamers, and it says a visual novel that was written by Masato Kato.
Yeah, it's basically it's not really a game. It's more like a visual story is what I was getting.
But he said he was displeased with the quality of the writing, and so even though fans who've managed to play the ROM hacks of this game actually appreciate the darker tone that the writer was going for.
Corey, what did you learn today?
Just that I actually played a little more of the game than I thought I did.
Yeah, like when you told me how far I thought you played like maybe like to the future and like got bored or something. That's how it sounded.
No,
that is actually where a lot of people lose interest in the game. The future.
It was a good couple weeks that I played it like an hour a day. So.
Okay.
So you actually did. You made it more than halfway through the game. I will tell you.
You're literally like pretty much. You're at the part where, like Matt. You're like literally. You're at the mouse immunity part. Everything from there to the beginning and end is the best part of the game, really. Like it's where everything starts to pick up and like come together, and all like you realize you're not just like a time traveler adventurer.
You're part of something much bigger.
Well, that's good to know then, because I'm gonna give mine first because I'm gonna ask you guys. But at this point so far, the story I've gotten, I would only give this like a 6.5 out of 10. So,
and I understand.
I'm actually glad to hear that the best parts are coming.
Oh yeah.
So far, it's not top tier for me, but I do enjoy it.
Yeah, all the best stuff is coming, and then there's a lot we didn't even touch on. Character like Dalton and
Dalton. One of my favorite parts of this game actually is after Chrono's dead and you got Magus in the party, and you go back and see Janice, and that cat. It literally shies away from you, but when you have Magus in the party, it actually goes up to him, and Janice is just kind of like, "What?"
It's a Biff moment. Nobody can start this car.
What you're saying is when the cat walks up to Magus, Janice goes, "Oh my god!"
Nobody can start this cat but me. Who are you?
It is like a Biff moment.
Yeah.
You guys, did you miss my Friends reference?
Yeah, I did.
No,
God, Janice.
I guess I didn't catch on to that.
You fucking bastard.
Is that Chandler Bing? Anyway, but yeah, there's a ton of stuff, ton of character depth that like they're not like all the characters except Chrono have like stuff going on. Chrono is just a regular guy that lives with his mom and is really fucking strong.
Which is how quite a few RPGs start.
Yeah.
That's true.
Except he's not a little kid.
Yeah. Well, that's a big difference.
He's a teenager, isn't he?
I think they're like
he's like 16, 17 years old.
But he's also like somehow a master samurai swordsman and
like right off the bat.
Yeah.
Well, they explain that in the opening anime sequence. He's clearly always training with that wooden stick.
That's how it works. You train with a wooden stick, you're a samurai swordsman.
But yeah. Yeah, there's no real explanation for Chrono being like, it's not like Tidus where he's like actually a little bitch at first. Like Chrono's just King Daddy.
He's just a badass.
Yeah, he's like, dude, his character portrait in the fucking menu like shows you he's here to fuck shit up. He's very serious. Like,
that's why he doesn't talk.
Okay, so Mike, out of 10.
Yeah. Oh, this game, I'm the same. I don't ever give anything a 10 out of 10. But
yeah,
I will get as close as I will get as close to it.
To 10 if
it's a 9.9 for me.
Because I'm hoping something can hit 10 someday.
Because something else might come along
that will be better
that takes
someday. It away? Well, then that's when you reevaluate your.
What's the flaw that takes it away?
System.
I wish it was longer. I wish it was longer.
Why isn't it a 10? Why? Okay, there actually isn't a lot of game there. Like, because all the alternate endings, you don't have to actually beat the game 13 times. Most of them are like you play like to like until you're in the past, but before you kill Magus, you go beat it and you get this ending because Magus never summoned Lavos, so something never happened and shit like that. It's not.
If I can beat the whole real game and get the real ending that you're supposed to get,
you can do it on a day off from work.
The fact that I can do it in just 6 hours is.
I mean, you know exactly what you're doing now. Like Corey has to talk to NPCs.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
Wait until he has to feed them.
Wait
until he has to figure out how to feed those troops on the bridge. That's gonna be hilarious.
Oh yeah.
I wonder how long.
No, you already did that.
No,
you already did that.
Nope. That's the That's going to the Magus' castle for real.
Yeah,
that's how you unlock the access to the.
You did do that because he talked about fighting Zombor.
Oh, you already fought Zombor? Oh, so you got the jerky to feed the entire
I don't remember
army.
Names.
He's like, I don't remember shit.
You're killing me with names here.
Right, nah.
The skeleton. You fought the skeleton.
The skeleton that had 2 halves, and you could kill the bottom half. I fought the
skeleton. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So he did. He went and got the jerky.
So yeah, and you fed an entire army
with just one fucking thing of jerky.
Yeah, very impossible.
I thought
that's the best. Fun. That must clearly be the best jerky in the world.
And you're still hungry.
With this, no wonder the future is hungry, man. We're splitting jerky amongst the entire army. Yeah. And nobody's well fed in this game.
No.
No one eats right.
No, except Ozzy, clearly.
Yeah. I mean, he probably just ate.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a fair joke.
So, Doug.
But yeah.
I was asking for your rank out of 10.
Oh, my rank out of 10? I almost don't want to give... All right. If I'm being objective, based on like what I've said, it does, like, for its time, it was way ahead of its time, but it is now 2022, so I have to look at it through the eyes of 2022. It does have its issues where sometimes it's not exactly clear on what you do, and I guess that can be off-putting to some people who can't take the time to talk to an NPC or two. And there are times where, like, bosses, like, balance is a problem, or some bosses are just, like, out of nowhere really fucking strong, but everything up, like, and then, but nothing was. And it's
but at least it's not one of those games where even if you grind, they get stronger. So
I'll tell you a story about that, about a Eternal fucking Sonata one day when I actually made my game unbeatable.
You say that, but there's
no. It's not a mechanic. They don't get stronger as you get stronger. There's games where literally as you level up, they level up.
There are bosses that take half your life regardless of how strong you are. That kind of sucks.
Well, that's balanced around the fact that you could be like level 50 when you get there, or level 99, and they don't want it to be like a cakewalk. That's actually intelligent.
And then there was a boss that when it died, it took like your entire life down to 1. Which one was that? I'm trying to remember. Was that one of the golems?
The golems are stupid.
Because there's the golem twins.
Yeah, they just constantly fucking chunk you for like...
You're not even supposed to beat them, honestly.
Oh yeah, there's a fight that you're not supposed to win, but you can. They make it actually doable, and there's like a comedy scene about them being afraid of heights or something. You're not going to beat them though. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen.
Not without New Game Plus.
No, not on the first attempt. You can do it without New Game Plus, but they're fucking stupid. I hate those. Are my.
Do you mean I'm not supposed to beat them, as in I'm supposed to lose, or I'm supposed to avoid them?
No, you're supposed to.
No. You have to fight. You're supposed to lose, but they set it up that you can actually win the fight. And you get a comedy sequence. You still end up fucking suck, but they gave you an Easter egg there for the people that like gave it a shot, which I appreciate, because most games is just like, nope, you can do this for 7 hours and nothing happens.
Yeah.
So the fact that there was something there for the people like me, I was like, that's cool. Like another thing that they did that nobody else does. And with that being said, because if I'm looking at my favorite JRPG of all time, it's Final Fantasy X. This is probably like, by today's standards, somewhere between like an 8 and an 8.5 out of 10, and that's a high score. And I'm really fucking picky. I'm very strict and hard on games.
All I'm saying is, with all of the JRPGs that we have out now, and IGN still named it the best RPG of all time. That's saying a lot.
Nostalgia is a hell of a bitch, man.
As intelligent as IGN writers are, nostalgia plays a heavy part in a lot of people's writing.
Like if I tell you my score with nostalgia on, it's fucking 10 out of 10. But if I'm being real,
it's a fucking 10.
It has its issues, and it does show its age in a lot of ways. And like new games, there's just more to do and I appreciate being able to do more things. Like you saw me playing Elden Ring. That's a fucking masterpiece of a game, and it's not a 10. There's no way I could give Chrono Trigger a higher score than that. But yeah,
that's fair.
I think 8. I think between 8 and 8.5. It's a good game. I'd play it. I recommend it.
Yeah, for those our listeners that have never touched this game, I know you just listen to us basically go through the whole fucking thing.
You probably don't. You won't remember it.
It doesn't change the experience, I don't think. I think, yeah, you won't remember half of what we just said. So
there's a lot of names of places and dates. We didn't touch on everything. I know. You seem like you're in thought, Mike. Are you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm good.
You're like looking off at an angle, like you're
I was looking at this picture of lava. I was trying to figure out if I can find out where his feet are.
There aren't any. It's a shell.
No,
there's a living being inside of it. Okay, anyway,
you know what,
Corey? With that being said, from what you played so far, do you have any issues or complaints, or anything that you think the game did right that still holds up?
I'm not a huge fan of I actually kind of prefer the random encounters over the being able to avoid things.
Okay.
Honestly, in my opinion,
you don't like having to constantly reload and run the same route over.
Yeah, I don't love that, but the grinding is a bit easier in this game than in some games. I've played a lot of RPGs where you have to grind for 2-3 straight days just to be strong enough to beat a boss. You really don't have to do that in this one. You just grind for like an hour or two.
Final Fantasy X is one of those games.
Yeah. You have to grind a lot.
If you want to beat Penance, you got to be maxed out. And in this game, in order to beat the hardest boss, you can do it at like level 50 with a little bit of effort.
Yeah, I think level between level 55 and 60.
There is no reason to ever go to 99 other than just to say you did it and to see Ayla hit for max damage. So Corey, where can these guys come to request a hard copy of the guide we just spoke from memory?
If you need Doug to write you out the entire strategy guide and send it to you, you can get a hold of us on Facebook, which is Culture Shocked Podcast.
Or for $11.99 an hour, I'll sit and voice and tell you how to get through it.
There you go.
Not really.
It's going to take
me
a lot.
I do that. I'll do it.
On Instagram, it's Culture Shock 21, and Twitter, it is CS Podcast 21. Come talk to us and let us know what you think of this game.
Trigger, Chrono Cross, or a different JRPG? Which one is your favorite? Let us know. And tell Corey to beat the game. And also,
I'll get
definitely don't go to www.youtube.com/bakerreviews and look at whatever video agent just put out about Halloween.
He perished. I told you. He's not with us anymore.
Let him know. Check out his videos. He puts them out occasionally. He has video reviews. I don't always agree with his opinions. Maybe you will.
His videos are good. You know, he does a really good job. It just, he needs to be more consistent, you know?
Mike, this isn't the time for that.
Time for what?
You got to tell him they suck.
Oh, yeah. No, Adrian sucks.
Yeah, we don't say good things about Adrian when he's not here. That's not how this works.
Oh, that's right.
I just said that he's not consistent.
I said don't go watch the videos. I said definitely don't.
Don't go to Baker Reviews on YouTube.com.
But don't like all of his videos and put comments on.
Definitely don't subscribe. Subscribe and turn on post notifications.
You should click on every video and only watch a second of it.
Actually, yeah. Do it like 5 times though. And then never go back. And then unsubscribe afterwards so he loses that subscriber he thought he got. If you do that, I'd actually I would love you for the rest of my days.
The best part is he's never going to hear this.
You'd be surprised.
Not a chance.
No, he doesn't listen to our episodes.
Especially one about a game he's probably never going to play.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I'm surprised. He'd love this game. Anyway.
I think so.
With that being said, I wish I would have talked about every detail. I would have walked you through this whole game and just talked about why I loved it as I did. But Corey just couldn't miss an episode. I'm
glad.
I had to find some way to blame Corey for this.
I am glad that I'm glad that I actually found somebody else that was as, in love with this game as I am. Because
thanks, man.
Yeah, it became apparent really fast when we were able to just take turns picking up for each other.
Fuck it. I gush at this. I gush over this game so much that I think it annoys a lot of people.
It was a unique experience for me as well. No one else has ever known a game that in and out like that game like I do. But yeah, I really want to talk about this game more. Oh well, I guess
someday. Maybe we could do a bonus thing that they could pay for.
I'll pay them to let me talk about this game. Sit here while I tell you everything about this game. I love to do it. Please, I'll pay you. Anyway, with that being said, from all of us, Culture Shock, thanks for listening.
But the future refused to change.